Maybe the most believable allegation being made right now, like, I thought this was a high part of his career. Like, what's okay? So, okay, here. We'll start with this. Okay, actually, won't start with this because it's paywalled. So I'm gonna find the link to the actual article so I can read it. This article, right? In this article, this New York Times article, several women who have dated Graham Platner recall unsettling behavior, right? If you remember in this article, there was somebody who was mentioned in this article after the Republican former Heritage Foundation person, right? Miss Fifield. There was a second person mentioned, right? This is no one. I have the new one. There was a second person mentioned, right? Miss Rakakot. Do you remember me covering this? This is very important, right? Do you remember me covering this? In here, there was this person who was talking about like, her relationship with Graham Platner, and it was a very specific thing that she mentioned in here that I told you to keep in mind because it wasn't expounded upon, right? It wasn't expounded upon, but it was a part of the article. There was a point of this article where Graham Platner showed up at her house, right, unannounced, and she did not want to say exactly what happened there. Right? Here. This article came out last year. And I want you to remember this when we're talking about how other people have covered that. That response is just dropped. Okay, that's also weird. We're gonna cover this, right? So basically, in this article, so again, this is not coming out of nowhere. This is not from a Republican. People hand waved away the last thing, right? Because they said, "Oh, it's a Republican. It's Heritage Foundation person. It's obviously an Israeli ob. It doesn't matter, right?" They hand waved away this article here because of that. But this is from a Democrat. This is from a Democrat, somebody who was supportive of Graham Platner, and it was mentioned in this article that everybody jumped over, right? Listen to this, right? Asked about the post in a follow-up interview this spring, Ms. Rakakot said that she agreed with many of Mr. Platner's policies, said that she had an on and off relationship with Mr. Platner and had positive memories. But she was not shocked when she was not shocked, she said, when she saw the incendiary comments he made about women that have serviced during the campaign. I was like, that makes sense, she said. This person does not respect women. Ms. Rakakot also said that in 2021, he arrived at her house drunk after she had asked him not to come over. She declined to elaborate, but she said she cut off contact soon after that episode and found his behavior reckless and unsettling. Right? And so people took that to be like, oh, nothing happened, right? All that they have on Graham Platner is that it's just reckless and unsettling behavior. But this new article, right, expounds upon what happened at that incident, right? We knew what happened, chat. I covered it. And I told you I told you probably about what happened, right? I said, I know but what most likely happened here, but she doesn't want to talk about it because either she doesn't want to ruin his campaign, right? She doesn't want to get in the way of his chances of winning, right? Or she's a victim and she's traumatic about it and she doesn't want to talk about it, right? But there's very little things that could have happened here that would have made sense. And the fact that people were so quick to wash that away as if that's meaningless was so frustrating to me at the time, right? But now we have an article where she comes out to talk about that experience specifically. So what happened exactly on the time where she did not want to elaborate on it in the New York Times article, right? And this is what it is, right? Exclusive. Women who dated Graham Platner says he sexually assaulted her. The main Democrat denies the allegations and said any accusations of non-consensual behavior is categorically untrue. A woman who dated a Maine U.S. Senate candidate, Graham Platner, says that he forced her to have sex with him. That he forced her to have sex with him nearly 5 years ago, despite her repeated objections, and an allegation Platner denies. The women, a 41-year-old Maine resident named Jenny Rakakot, which is the same person as this, by the way, So she's not coming out of nowhere. She's not a Republican. She's not a Heritage Foundation operative, right? This is something that, right, was spoken about and was addressed a month ago, right? This is not new information or new allegations that are dropping. Detailed the allegations, the alleged incident to Politico in 3 interviews over the past 2 weeks. Politico had spoken with a man Rekha dated and confided in the years after the alleged incident, reviewed documents, including emails between Rekha and her therapist, and messages between Rekha and an acquaintance whom she warned against getting involved with Platner years before he ran for office. Rekha said that she had an on and off relationship with Platner, who is now the Democratic Senate nominee in Maine. For more than 2 years before he entered the rural Maine, more than 2 years before he entered her rural Maine home uninvited one night in late 2021, deeply intoxicated, and forced himself on her while she repeatedly told him to stop. She said she cut off all contact with him after telling him the encounter was not consensual. I remember him grabbing my pelvis and being really forceful with me, she said. I remember the specific moment where I thought to myself, like, this is no longer my choice. Platner denied the allegations. These allegations are troubling, serious, and false. Any accusation of non-consensual behavior is categorically untrue, he said in the statement. Rekha previously described reckless and unsettling behavior by Platner to the New York Times, but she said she didn't want to go public until with a specific assault claim because she didn't want to be known as a rape victim. Rekha said that she later felt compelled to go public about her experience because of the reaction to the Times story was dominated by controversy about another woman, Lindsay Fifield, who alleged Platner mistreated her and faced other attacks because of her ties to the Republican Party. Contacted by Politico, Fifield stood by the allegations she made and declined to comment further, which is kind of crazy, right? Funnily enough, the people who were yelling at this other person, right, actually caused her to go forward with this. Right, the way that I told you this was going to happen. That the way that I said, I literally have a tweet that I said the way that leftists are talking about this, the way that leftists are discussing this is disgusting because it was disgusting at the time, right? It was disgusting and it is disgusting, and that is exactly what caused her to go forward, right? Because she saw and she knew her own experience as a victim, and she saw leftists go so far to discredit this other victim, right, because of their background. And she was like, that's disgusting. I don't want to have any of that. I hope this is a wake-up call. I genuinely hope this is a wake-up call for leftists. Genuinely. They were so quick to see someone who was victimized and was like, liar, 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 liar. So much so that their beloved favorite golden boy candidate, right, got another allegation specifically because of their behavior. This person was going to let their victimhood status sit. Was going to let Graham Platner get away with everything that he did, right? Until they acted the way they did about these allegations. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Rekha said that she later felt, I read that one. My part of the story was just a read over. Rekha said in an interview, this is true. This is exactly what it was. And the story was Lindsay, the accusations of her being politically motivated. Rekha said that she was torn over coming forward in part because she agrees with Platner politically. Right? This is not a Republican. This is not a Republican operative. This is not somebody who worked with the Heritage Foundation, right? This is somebody who was politically aligned with Graham Platner. Somebody who was politically aligned with Graham Platner, a Democrat. One of the reasons I didn't come forward sooner was the huge moral conflict that I have between supporting his politics and not supporting him as a person, she said. I just want the truth. I just want the truth out there. I just want people to have a whole scope of who he is as a person. In a statement, the Platner campaign reiterated his denial of the accused critics of trying to drive him out of the race. The allegations are very serious, and Graham vigorously denies them. They are also coached and coordinated by out-of-state establishment operatives for a year. Out-of-state establishment operatives for a year. For a year, opponents of the campaign have thrown everything they can at Graham, calling him a Nazi, war criminal, and a communist. I love that they put those in the. I love that the Platner campaign put Nazi criminal, a war criminal, and communist in the same sentence. By the way, that is hilarious. None of it has been true, and this is no different. It's not a coincidence that the story comes out a week before the ballot deadline, just as the previous false allegations came out a week before the primary. Graham began his this campaign to fight for a Maine where everyone is treated with dignity, where Mainers are put first, and no amount of desperate spirits will stop the movement from seeing the vision through. Platner, an Oysterman and a political newcomer, when he launched his Senate campaign last August, easily won the Democratic primary last month to face GOP Senator Susan Collins in one of the nation's most highly watched Senate races. His remarkable rise has been tainted with controversy, including offensive comments online, allegations of past mistreatment of women. Excuse me. He has not been previously accused of sexual assault. Iraqi Afghanistan war veteran has linked some of his behavior to mental health struggles and alcohol abuse. He said that he has changed and denies previous claims that he was abusive to women. Iraqi told Politico that she connected with Platner on a dating app Bumble in 2019 and had consensual relations with him prior to the night of he allegedly assaulted her. The night in late 2021, she had exchanged text messages with him and told him not to come over, saying that she wasn't in the mood for company. Later that evening, she said that she realized when she heard a sound on the stairs that he had let himself into her house, which was unlocked. Platner came upstairs, Rekicott said, to where she was on the couch. He got on top of her and kept grabbing her, she said, while she repeatedly told him to stop and that she wasn't interested. Rekicott said that she smelled alcohol on his breath and believed that he was almost blackout drunk because Platner ignored her protest and continued to grab her after knocking over an antique sewing kit, spilling small needles everywhere. I've been telling him these words like, no, don't, she recalled. And the look on his face and realizing what was happening, I just realized that like I'm in a situation where there's no consent here, she said. Rekicott said that she tried to separate herself from Platner by telling him that she couldn't be in that room anymore, after which he followed her to the bedroom and had sex with her against her will. She said that he also ejaculated inside of her despite her telling him not to, as she was not on birth control at the time. She went clean herself up, when she said, and when she returned, Platner had fallen asleep. She contemplated waking him up to kick him out, but worried that he could hurt someone driving in the state that he was in. The following morning, she said, Platner tried to put his arm around her and she pushed him away. She said she asked him whether or not he remembered what happened the previous night, and according to Rekicott, Platner said that he didn't remember. Rekicott said she told him to leave and never contact her again. Rekicott said she waited several weeks until she got her period to ensure she wasn't pregnant. She sent Platner a private message on Instagram saying that the encounter was not consensual and that she did not want to hear from him ever again. Rekicott had no further contact with him after that, she said. Rekicott said that she later deleted all the text and social media correspondence with Platner as she tried to move on from the assault, and that she has not been able to recover the Instagram messages she sent about the incident. In the weeks after the alleged assault, Rekicott said that she considered going to the police, but struggled with shock and confusion about what had happened to her and did not file a police report. Even as time passed, she said she felt uncomfortable potentially telling a police officer about such a personal experience and fear retaliation from Platner. At first, she confided only in her therapist, who she continued to see. Rekicott showed Politico recent emails with her therapist in which Rekicott explained that she was talking to the media about her relationship with Platner in the SA/rape. She is the abbreviation for sexual assault. In the message, Rekicott was not ready to go public in seeking to help corroborate her account of the conversations she was having with reporters on the condition of anonymity. Her therapist responded that Rekicott shouldn't have to speak publicly about a traumatic incident in order to be believed without referring details of any particular incident. Her therapist, who Politico agreed to not name, at a request declined to comment on Monday. Rekicott also shared details about the alleged assault to a man she dated after Platner, who she began dating in 2022. The man, who was granted anonymity out of concern for his personal privacy, told Politico that Rekicott had told him bits and pieces of a bad experience with Platner before confiding in the full details of what happened in 2023. His account of what Rekicott told him about the incident matched what Rekicott told Politico. Rekicott shared with Politico a series of private messages she exchanged with acquaintances in 2023, about a year and a half after the alleged assault, and well before Platner launched his political career, in which she cautioned the acquaintance against getting involved with Platner. In the messages, Rekicott said that she had ended up in a bad situation with him, describing Platner as consensually careless, and saying that he doesn't listen to you when drunk. Reached out to by Politico, the acquaintance said that she received the messages but declined to comment. Politico granted her anonymity at the request of protecting her privacy in the Maine community. What's his deal? Should I not But should I not fix up my friend, assuming he's single? He could be charming and funny and decently intelligent person, but he's not all bad. But I ended up in a bad situation with him, and I will call him I will very politely call him consensually careless at times when drunk plus PTSD. I know about the PTSD. He lies also. Politico spoke with a friend Rekha had told about the alleged assault last summer, shortly after Platner launched his campaign. The friend to whom Politico granted anonymity due to fear of social and professional backlash recalled Rekha telling her about the incident, including that Platner had been very drunk and wouldn't take no for an answer. Rekha said that she was contacted by New York Times in the spring and shared off the record that Platner had assaulted her. She told the Times that she had had positive memories of the relationship with Platner, but thought that he did not respect women and had cut off contact with him after the incident in 2021 when Platner had come over drunk. But the Times article stated that Rekha declined to elaborate about what happened, only describing this behavior as reckless and unsettling. A spokesperson for the Times declined to comment. After the publication of the Times report, Rekha connected with Cheyenne Hunt, a progressive Democratic lawyer and a founder of nonprofit Reckoning Action, which launched earlier this year to fight misogyny. Hunt had endorsed Platner last fall, but renounced her support after the Times article previously supported women came forward with the assault allegations against former Representative Eric Swalwell earlier this year, prompted him to drop out of the California gubernatorial primary and resign for Congress. NBC News previously reported that Hunt, working with multiple women who had a past relationship with Platner, Hunt connected Politico to Rekha. Reckoning Action exists to confront misogyny in American life in all forms and manifestations, including in bad actors being elected in positions of power, Hunt said. We became aware of allegations before ever being connected with Jenny, and we've been in contact with multiple women who with really troubling allegations, and it's just become clear that this is someone who is not fit to hold public office. MS Now after the Times report last month, Platner had said the allegations of physical misconduct were simply not true. His allies seized on Fifield's conservative political affiliations to suggest that the allegations against him in the Times were motivated by politics. On MS Now, the New York Times report on MS Now last month, after the New York Times report, Platner denied claims that he had physically mistreated women. Anything alleging physicality and anything alleging that I knew about my tattoo, knew what my tattoo was. These are statements of somebody who was politically motivated, he said, told MS Now, alluding to the unrelated allegations about the the tattoo resembling a Nazi symbol. Platner had a tattoo resembling a Nazi symbol covered up last fall, and he had said that he had not known what the symbol meant. Rekha said she was bothered by Platner's public denial that he had been denial that he's been physical towards women. I know that he is capable of putting his hands on women, she said, but I don't believe that to be the truth. Another CNN article dropping involved another scandal either today or tomorrow. Really? Jeez Louise, bro. Jeez Louise. That is a lot. So I think there's a few takeaways in here that I think are important to note. One, how many people in this article, right, will comment on the condition of anonymity, right? And if you see the reaction that the way that people act around Grant Platner, I completely understand it. You know what I mean? Even like one person was like, I'm afraid of the social media backlash because of the way that the social media is like, if you even consider being meaningfully critical of Grant Platner about even like innocuous things, you know what I mean? Like, you're a public enemy number one. So that's not surprising that, you know, that nobody wants to be addressed here on like, you know, enforced here because of the way that people are acting. You know, so that's number one. Number two, this, like, everything that is said here lines up exactly with what is described in this article, right? Like, none of it, nothing is like not correct information. Nothing is like, you know what I mean? There's no discrepancy as it pertains to what Ms. Rakakot said here and what was like noted here. It all lines up. Two. Number three, like, I think. Okay, actually, there are actually more text messages. And let me finish the messages, right? So we read this. He said, when drunk plus PTSD. I know about the PTSD. He also he lies also, and then she asks, forces himself on people. I believe. Um, this said, I saw your post about oysters the other day. I feel more obligated to warn you if you were anything more than friends with Graham. Um, to warn you if you were anything more than friends with Graham, but if you're not, then I'll shut up and for now and give you the scoop sometime. Just friends would love the scoop though. Is he still engaged? I was working on fixing up a friend. Um, oh, I have no idea with who. And then something else. Oh, I think it's a girl named Jen from Rock Island area. I don't know. I haven't heard of anyone. He was as of last summer that I know, but also my timeline's a little sketch, so maybe it was the summer before. But either way, they've been on and off. But then I was told they got engaged. Yeah, COVID really messed up my timeline for everything. What's his deal? Should I not assume he's oh, then it goes into this. I don't know why they put these in here out of order. Then it's like, then it goes, what's his deal? Right? Should I not fix up my friend assuming he's single? And then it goes into he can be charming, funny, decently intelligent. He's not all bad, but I ended up in a bad situation with him, and I would very politely call him consensually careless at times. Like, there's no other way to describe that outside of like sexual assault. You know what I mean? Like, and this is cooperation for like before he was running. So this case is not like this is not politically motivated. This is before he was even running in the first place, right? This person was having correspondence with a friend in a completely separate situation, right? Saying that he's cavalier with consent, as in he flagrantly disregards it. And then that goes into he lies also, forces himself on people, question mark. One thing that grossed me out after him and I had dated was that I saw his profile on OkCupid, and the site asked a lot of questions, and one of the question was if your partner told you they had over 100 sexual partners, what would your response be? And his response was, that's not that many, so that super grossed me out. I think he probably slept with a ton of people, doesn't listen to you when drunk. It reads to me that she also, to me, it reads that she was also intoxicated, so she thinks it was consensual or misunderstanding. No, that's not the case. So that's the article. Um, right? That's the article. And like, I don't know. It's frustrating because like the like Me Too, the entire thing about Me Too was that, right, when there are allegations being levied against somebody, the way that you talk about the allegation, the way that you engage with the allegations guides how um victims feel comfortable coming out about those allegations, right? That's kind of the overall thesis of Me Too. You feel me? Is that when you address and you engage with allegations, right? When you are so flagrantly this is why Believe Women was like a rallying cry of sorts during Me Too. Was that when you don't, or when you spend all your time like so specifically reflexively disbelieving women, it shows other women who have allegations that they don't want to come out and that they're afraid of coming out because they're afraid of how they'll be treated. I think it's also I think it's notable that somebody like Abdullah Saeed has very much been targeted by the establishment machine. If there's nothing of substance that they have dug up, so as far as Platner goes, if all of this was a lie, then why would we not see similar allegations against El Saeed, who have to deal with being a Muslim man in a deeply Islamophobic society? They're trying to take this man down, and they have nothing. Exactly. Happened with Zohar Mamdani as well. Like if these are all like just completely fabricated and made up, then why are nobody else getting credible allegations being levied against them about sexual assault? And there are multiple things for Graham Platner, multiple allegations for Graham Platner, on top of everything else that he already had, all of the issues that he's already had. Like, this is in line with how he talks about his own history, right? He's talked about how he had problems with alcoholism. He's talked about how he had PTSD. He's talked about how he made bad decisions because of it, right? But all he has to say is, nuh-uh, right? And then everybody is just like, because it's their guy, because it's their man, it's like, nah, he couldn't have done it. He couldn't have done it. Like, how many people need to come out, right? This person is not like Fifield. She's not a Republican. She's not a Heritage Foundation former employee, right? She's not ideologically invested in Susan Collins winning or whatever. This is like a Democrat, somebody who's agrees with Graham politically and has a paper trail of where they talked about their sexual assault to other people. I don't know how much more you need in that regard. I don't. It's just it's frustrating, right? And it's equally as frustrating, if not more frustrating, right? When you look at the beginning where she feels like she needs to come out because of how people treated the other person, right? Because of how people talked about the other victim, because of how people treated the other victim, right? That's what spurred this on, by the way. Which is why I wonder like why there's just like zero reflection, zero self-reflection about, maybe we actually performed poorly as a, believe women, pro women coalition here. Maybe we could have addressed that story with some level of grace and respect, right? Because that is directly what caused her to be like, okay, I see how they're treating her, but I have my own story, right? Everybody's saying that Graham Platner couldn't have done this because she's a Republican, right? Graham Platner could never have assaulted a Republican. He's Smolby. He was like, but what about my story? And that's what spurred this on in the first place. Being skeptical about the Heritage Foundation lady, but not being skeptical about the Blackwater and Merck with the alcohol problems is hypocrisy. Even when it comes about like being skeptical about the Heritage Foundation lady, right? I'm not even saying that you have to be like, oh no, Graham Platner needs to be thrown in jail immediately for this, right? But the way that it was covered was with zero respect. You had people who were discrediting her before we even knew who she was, right? It was literally like muddying the waters, like objectively muddying the waters. Before we even knew who it was. There was zero respect given to that allegation. And that trickled down to like giving zero respect to this person and during the first allegations. Right? People were saying, oh, this is a nothing burger, this is nothing. When like there was implied assault that happened here. And if that was covered with any meaningful level of respect, right? It wouldn't have never gotten to this point in the first place. Right? And so it's slightly ironic. Go to the video response. I have the video response right here. Right? It's slightly ironic that it's like leftists' own like anti-women, like anti-victim mentality that caused Graham Platner to be hit with another allegation. There, we'll see what his response is.
I wanted to directly address the troubling, serious, and false allegations against me. Any accusation of non-consensual behavior is categorically false. Over the last 10 months, I have been deeply humbled by the faith Mainers have put in me. You have welcomed me into your homes, into your places of work, into your restaurants, into your houses of worship. You have shown that a different kind of politics, one that puts the interests of people over corporations, is not just possible, but is inevitable. This movement we have built, the largest volunteer base in the history of Maine politics, the hundreds of thousands of grassroots donors, and the supporters across the ideological spectrum, we were united in a love of Maine, a belief that our politics must change, and a focus on defeating Susan Collins. So, regardless of the inaccuracy of the reporting, but mindful of the political reality it will inflict.
The reporting that he objectively could not have read before it came out, by the way. That just reads as disingenuous to me, right? That's the part I think that reads as the most disingenuous to me, right? He couldn't have read the reporting. This dropped like 10 minutes after. This dropped 10 minutes after the article itself dropped. Right? So he doesn't know what was reported. He knows that there was allegations, right? He was asked for comments on, but he doesn't know how it was reported, like literally at all, objectively speaking.
We are taking the time to reflect on the best path forward for the state that I love, the people that I love, the movement I belong to, and the goal of defeating Susan Collins. Those were the goals when we launched this campaign, and they remain my goals today. On June 9th, 154,058 Mainers, the most in primary history, voted to reject a broken politics beholden to Washington and the donor class. They voted for hope, for change, to take back our economy, to take back our power, and to take back our Senate seat. Throughout it all, you never turned your back on me, and I will not turn my back on you now. Every one of you deserves to see that vision come to fruition and see Susan Collins defeated, and we will use every tool at our disposal to do so. As Maine goes, so goes the nation. As always, thank you.
Like, I'm sorry, even for like addressing allegations, really bad. Really bad. Because like I told you what I wanted, and we can actually go back and look at my VOD last time. I told you what I wanted to hear from him when he spoke to address the other allegation, right? I only have one side of the story right now. You have an opportunity to provide your side of the story. Tell me what happened that day, from your view. What was false about it? Did the day not happen? Did you not go over there? Were you not drunk? Did you not let yourself in? Did you not force yourself upon her? Tell me what happened. I need an explanation. What is the explanation for the paper trail? That's a good question. Do you believe he recorded that video as the New York Times and sent that to Politico when they reached out? With the Reddit quotes where Platner says that women have to stop getting blackout drunk or they'll get assaulted. That he did say that. That is the thing that he did say. I'm pretty sure I showed it before. That's how Swalwell reacted, right? Swalwell reacted differently because he dropped out when he did his video. Right? In that same video, he dropped out. Right? I did the same thing. But did he drop out afterwards? I saw the video where he was like, "This is false," but also I'm dropping out. By the way, that's what I saw. I didn't know that there was a first one before that. He denied it and then did a drop out video. Oh, I think it took a day. Okay. I see what you're saying. Sound the alarm. Graham Platner says that sexual assault victims should take some responsibility in now deleted Reddit post. Maine U.S. Senate candidate Graham Platner made disturbing comments about sexual assault victims in Reddit posts that were deleted shortly before he launched his campaign, saying that assault victims should take some responsibility for themselves to avoid attacks and act like adults for fuck's sake. He said people should avoid alcohol so they don't end up in compromising situations, and downplayed the challenges service members face in reporting sexual assault. So, I think when it comes to all allegations, it's important to look at who the person is, right? Because a lot of things that people always say is that there's no way that this person could do this, right? And there are times where there are people who are like more morally righteous, right, and more like feminists than Graham Platner who have done sexual assault, right? So like this isn't even a case where like leftist men, leftist man is a feminist so that he can get into women's pants and they do sexual assault. This is somebody who has a history of violence towards people, violence towards women, and then so cavalierly talking about consent and blaming sexual assault victims. This like, what more do you need? Genuinely, what more do you need? What would it take? Right? What would it take? Genuinely, what would it take to believe what she is saying here? And I want you to take that standard and see if that would apply to every victim of sexual assault, even the victim of sexual assault that you might know in person, right? Would they be able to clear that bar? Right? Would they be able to clear that bar? And I can guarantee you the answer is probably going to be no. Right? Because there are victims of sexual assault who don't have a paper trail, who don't have text messages warning other women about sexual assault. Right? The issue is that people don't think that Graham Platner is capable of it. I said it before and I'll say it again. People do not believe that Graham Platner is capable of sexual assault because they don't want to believe it because he's their guy. He's their guy. He's their man. Right? So it can't be the case. It can't be true. And I don't know what it would take. Right? I don't know what it would take. Like he constantly denies his allegations while constantly crying about how his PTSD made him make poor decisions is so irritating. It's also irrational. Right? And leftists will also be like crying about his PTSD. Right? They'll be crying about like, oh no, he has PTSD. You don't understand. You don't understand him. You don't understand him. But also like, well, you know, they're like, you don't understand, but also he couldn't have done this. Doesn't make someone doesn't make someone violent. They already had these tendencies. Well, we already knew he had these tendencies as well. It's just frustrating, right? It's frustrating because there were signs of this being the case. There were signs of this being the case. There just were. I didn't pull this out of my ass, bro. I didn't make this up. People looked at me and yelled at me for months, calling me a wrecker. When I was pointing out the very clear blow up sign that said, hey, this guy is bad. I also got that same heat when I said a month ago, the way I know what, I'm going to pull it up. This is what I said a month ago. Right? Call me crazy, but there are allegations of real abuse in this article. It's kind of weird the way that I see people covering it, to be honest. And people like this were like, I, for one, believe everything a Zionist Heritage Foundation operative says. And I said, I don't reflectively disbelieve a potential victim of abuse because I don't agree with them politically. I take the allegations seriously to not add to the rape culture of the victim blame. At this point, you're either invested too much in your anti-Platner stance or you'd fall for any negative framing that would match your biases, or you're just straight up cashing checks. I wonder what this person's saying now, by the way. Oh, they haven't tweeted anything. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. It's so frustrating. Do you think Troy Jackson's the best choice for a replacement? I mean, nobody's dropped out yet. So Graham Platner hasn't dropped out yet. So I don't honestly don't think he will. That will require a level of self-reflection that I don't think he's capable of. Right? He didn't show that when he lied about being a part of Blackwater. He didn't show that when he lied about having the Nazi tattoo. He didn't show that when he lied about his financial history in his past, about coming from a wealthy family. He didn't show that during the first allegation that dropped. He didn't show that during his Reddit post. He didn't show that during his anti-Black Reddit post. He didn't show that during this allegations. So I don't think so. I don't think so. If you're being consistent, consistently being principled in your situation like this, a freshman sees 60 moral compass even when you get blowback. Not many other leftist creators do that. It's frustrating. I am frustrated. I'm frustrated by this. I consider that uncritically supporting America's mercenaries is actually praxis. I'm frustrated and I'm tired. I'm really tired. I'm very tired. I don't have anything else to say. This isn't like I don't necessarily want to engage with like what Hassan is saying or whatever. Right? That's a conversation for another time or whatever. Right? I just I want there to be this is kind of trying to run on Abdul the same day for contrast. Can't believe people try to lump them together. Yeah. This is crazy. Abdullah Saeed has strong words about President Barack Obama, saying that he was not the right choice back in 2012. Yeah, that's something he really said. Yeah, that's the difference in the that's the difference in what's it called, coverage, right? They're hitting like Zora Mamdani about his Fourth of July speech. You know what I mean? Like that's the difference of the level of controversy. We wouldn't be here in the first place if people listened to. I have been saying for months that Graham Platner was not the right choice. I've been saying for months that Graham Platner was not the right choice. Months. Since his first campaign video dropped. And he was doing hoorah military. And it made 0 sense the levels to which people went to defend him. Absolutely no sense. It genuinely. Genuinely. They try to get Chris Rapp to just deny allegations he knows nothing about, discussing behavior from Crystal Ball. I'll always hate over that. Yeah, isn't that insane? They tried to. You know what? I'm playing it. We're gonna play it. We're gonna play it. We're gonna. I'm pulling it up. It was gross. It was gross. It was a month ago. I know we watched it. Yeah, that's 2 months ago. But this intrigues me. I'm intrigued by this. It did say DSA candidate. Hold on. Here.
And that's a double standard.
Fetterman vibes. DSA Dem won't defend Graham Platner.
If they're truly understanding of why that dynamic is so problematic.
I wanted to get you to weigh in on what's going on right now with Graham Platner up in Maine, because I do think it has some important fissures here in terms of the direction of the Democratic Party. You know, his ideological program and yours is not exactly the same, but you're more or less in the same lane and have, similar views of the world. And certainly, have been clear-cut, clear-throated opponents of genocide, of AIPAC funding, and the influence of the Israel lobby. He has faced a number of allegations, some of which he's, acknowledged that he had a very rough go of it after serving in the military, that he had a drinking problem, he has PTSD, that he engaged in toxic behavior in relationships, other aspects of which he's completely denied. There was an allegation from a Republican political operative that he had grabbed her by the shoulders forcefully, that he had yanked her by the hand out of a cab, that he had put her arm behind her back and pushed her inside of a room. Again, she says this occurred. He denies it. And the New York Times was unable to confirm it. I wonder what you make of the allegations and also what has been seen as extreme scrutiny into his life that doesn't seem to be matched with a level of scrutiny into others who do not challenge the oligarchy and do not challenge, AIPAC and the status quo.
Like, it's crazy to try to get Chris Rapp to defend a rapist, bro. That's kind of wild. That's kind of wild to get Chris Rapp to preemptively defend a rapist. That's why. That's craziness. Right? And people yelled at Chris Rapp for this. They screamed at Chris Rapp in the comments for this. Right? They screamed at him for this. They were like, he's an establishment show for not defending Graham Platner.
Israel as aggressively as he does.
Yeah, this is challenging for me because I've felt that folks who have been identified as hard-scrabbled, populist, left of center white guys get far more leeway than folks like me, Black progressives.
And he was right. He's right about that. He should say it.
And that's a double standard that is largely based on race. And I think that's a conversation we need to have. If I had some problematic tattoo that related to white folk, I don't think I would be viable, even in a majority Black district, because I think the money would not be there for me to run the campaign I needed. I think there's a clear double standard that the left has to talk about as it relates to our racial politics and what is acceptable. And, I also have PTSD. I have actual PTSD. And I also have political PTSD because in this state, we elected a fake populist in Fetterman. And when I feel Fetterman vibes, I get very, very nervous. I don't know Platner. I've not followed his race closely. I've had, a grueling 10-month campaign I'm just coming out of. So now I'm really seeing what's on the landscape of opportunity in the House and the Senate. But I do think we need to hold space for folks with genuine grievances, and we need to have a process for those folks who are expressing legitimate concerns about the behaviors and choices of candidates, but to do so in a way that is in the spirit of restorative justice, as opposed to the spirit of the politics of personal destruction. And I think that is something that is really, really necessary, because what we don't want to do is to silence or erase the voices of people who have felt real harm, particularly women. But we also have to make sure that we do not feel that there's a class of candidate that has to be perfect. There are no perfect candidates. And we also have to make sure that those candidates acknowledge their faults. Everyone has them, and how we work through them. So if he said, I have I understand when someone says, I made a bad choice as a young man and I was struggling with addiction and that sort of thing. We need to hold space for that. But you also may have intervening years or decades where you did not do any further introspection about what you've done, so that you can feel a sense of atonement that other people can value as legitimate long before you ever considered public office. We can hold those two truths at the same time.
So you don't believe he's done sufficient atonement to have sought public office?
I don't know. I don't know. But I think that.
I mean, I want to know what she thinks now. Like, curious. We're just wondering. Right? Again, I'll say the same thing I said last time. Call her a liar. Call her a liar. Right? Because on a girl would be so based on foreign policy and go ahead and endorse Adolf Hitler, dude. It's again, I've been consistent on this. It's about what he stands for. Now he stands for like being a rapist. So now you're gonna see people kind of walk it back. But he was a rough and tumble white guy, as Chris Rapp said. It's a rough and tumble white guy, right? Like center left, or left of center populist. And people really loved that, and they could use that to boost the movement, to show white people that socialism is great and awesome and amazing. And I've been consistently saying that it's not even about like Graham Platner as a person. It's about what he stands for, what he can stand for, and that is like that. Like, man, we can use him as a referendum on socialism for white people. And again, nothing fundamentally would have really changed if people were more critical of Graham Platner to begin with. Right? If they just said, listen, he has a bad history. I don't like the guy. He's not a Republican, so, he's there, right? They could technically still hold that position now and still be like morally justified somewhat. But like they didn't do that. Right? They were just like, I must defend everything Graham Platner has done. Every single thing Graham Platner has done, I have to defend. He debased himself so much for this. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. Genuinely, I don't get it. There's nothing that Graham Platner offers that was worth it. Was it worth it? Was it? Oh, actually, no. Actually, I'll read this as well. I don't understand this. Collins has done real damage to women and zero atonement. Are we voting for policies? Cheddar, you're being pro-rapist right now. You're defending a rapist. I just want to point that out. Unless you live in Maine, you can't vote for either of them anyway, right? But what you are doing is you're defending a rapist. What do you want me to tell you? I don't live in Maine. I can't vote for either of them, right? So I don't have that terrible choice. What I'm not going to do is vote for a rapist, or not going to do is not going to support a rapist. I'm not going to defend a rapist. That's what I'm not going to do. Maybe you should learn to not do that as well. Zero voting for me means that the one who has a career of politics harming women. This is what your mind does on electoral politics, by the way. This is literally what your mind does on electoral politics. It is. Did you vote for Kamala Harris? Question? Just in general? Unfortunately, yes. That makes sense. I know the answer. I got to make sure. I have to verify. Taylor knows that they can get in a progressive candidate who isn't a rapist and running against Collins. Yeah, that's what I was saying 9 months ago, where all of y'all were still sucking off Platner. I was saying that 9 months ago, by the way. I don't know if you know that, Chatter. I was saying that 9 months ago. I was saying we should have somebody else in there, right? The Plattwater defenders, people who were defending everything that they were doing, right? Y'all were standing in the way of that dynamic. I was saying 9 months ago, we should have somebody else in there. And y'all were like, no, Platner's our guy. Platner's our guy. Right? And now we're stuck with this choice. I was literally saying this. And I got screamed at. I got yelled at. I was called a wrecker. I was called a liberal. I was called a Zionist for merely just suggesting that, maybe there could be somebody else that we can run. Literally anybody else that we can run, actually. Do you think I'm going to get an apology for that? Do you think I'm going to get an acknowledgement that, like, I'm sorry for doing an insane campaign against you for claiming that you're like a wrecker and a bad leftist. I don't think so. You think I'm gonna get any acknowledgement that like maybe I was not, you know, a liberal wrecker who wanted to make pro-Israel candidates win or something? I don't think I'm gonna get that either. Do you think that anybody's gonna actually acknowledge that they were actually in the wrong for so long, and that maybe that we should have been a little bit more critical about the people that we put up and have a slightly higher standard for the people that we put up? Am I crazy on that? Because that's what I've been saying consistently. You got chat in your DMs as well. I got emails about this, chat. People sent me emails about why I was a Zionist for saying that Graham Platner sucked. I got Instagram DMs being like, I'll read you it. I will read you the DM that I got a week ago. It was like, or I saw it a week ago. I will read you the DM that I got. Where's it at? I can't find it. I got a lot of DMs. I get so many DMs. Wait, someone invited me to a party. How'd I miss that? I missed a lot. Sorry. I got a lot of DMs. Why didn't you go? I didn't see it. You check your DMs more often? Yeah. Nothing for Graham Platner in there. You probably got a letter for your carrier pigeon on why you hate pragmatic socialism and what the for, right? Yeah, exactly. It's so frustrating. It's so always happens to you. This is true. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. I literally just wanted people to be more critical. Right? And we can literally jump into my here. We're gonna jump back into the VODs. I think Platner Power Hour VODs are still up. I'm back. No, they're not. That was, I think, 3 months ago. Oh, right. I took a break. I remember. I took a break. This one on Platner's interview. I should bookmark it because it still was so funny. So you knew they were doing that and you joined anyway. You're like, same dropping bombs on people's houses, same kicking in people's doors. Crazy. Actually, no, I'm pretty sure I know it's all. Oh, wait, it was on my second channel. Hold on. Actually, no, I'm pretty sure I know it's all. Oh, wait, it was on. Oops. Okay. Videos. Oh no. Oh no. I'm not partnered, so I only have 1 month of VODs. Oh man. Okay, no, that's gone forever. Anyway, you can just take my word for it and know that it's true. That's why I went live on YouTube today, because I need to keep my VOD somewhere. Wait a minute. I forgot I go live on YouTube now. Hold on. One month. Here it is. Petty Platner Power Hour, the double down. You did Chris Rabb yesterday? I actually didn't. I have exhausting. Yeah. This is where the interview starts getting interesting if you do not the video. You know it. You know it. Let's skip ahead a little bit. Yesterday, chat. Remember when everybody was yelling at me for literally saying this exact thing that now Ryan Grimm is saying right now, currently, exactly right now, currently? Party, however he wants to run them, right? If he platform on his website having a specific emphasis on like not decreasing the military budget, but just reality, it doesn't matter what the people of Maine are going to go for. He's already popular. You know what I mean? People of Maine will go for whatever he wants to because he's going to win. He's like 20 points ahead, you know? He has a lot of leeway to say whatever he wants to say because he's 20 points ahead. Does that make sense? And so I'm not saying that he can say everything that I'm saying now, right? But I'm saying that he has a little bit more of a little bit more give with the Mainers because the shadow here today. Moz, can we check the This is a lead up to my gotcha question. This is to establish context so that we get to my gotcha question. I haven't even gotten there yet. The chatter is anti-Israel. I know they are. I know they're anti-Israel. They don't want to answer because they know it makes them look bad. That's what it is. They know they would be proven incorrect by the point that I'm going to make, and so they just went mute. Yeah.
06.
Right.
They were
yell about my frustration of what I'm seeing in larger popular to streamers. I am reminded that your community is welcoming for critical thought and not a singular hive mind focusing on a minority of topics. I try, right? I try to I talk about what I care about here, right? And so you're not going to get a specific thing that you might be looking for here, right? I talk about things that I do care about, but I do try to facilitate contrary thoughts. You don't have to agree with me to be right? However, you do have to be, open to critical thinking and critical thought, right? Platner, how would I expect for you to disagree or agree with me on liking or not liking Graham Platner? However, you're not going to be here and then cape for Graham Platner's war crimes. That's what the difference is. You can like Graham Platner and I can dislike Graham Platner and that can be fine. But we can understand that Janet Mills is bad, Susan Collins is bad, Graham Platner may be the best person to exist for the position, and that can all exist simultaneously. What doesn't work in that dynamic is you saying that I am not allowed to speak on this because Susan Collins is bad, right? I'm not allowed to have this take because Janet Mills is bad. That's where things become an issue. And that's what I've been seeing a lot of. And that's why I'm back on this again. Some examples of how you want him to move left. Well, firstly, I want him to acknowledge the harm that he's caused by being in Blackwater, being a part of Blackwater, being a part of a militaristic empire that has committed harm across the Middle East and across the world entirely. I want him to stop saying slurs, acknowledge that that's harmful, and apologize for that and stop saying that. Oh, right. I forgot he did that this year. He was saying slurs literally this year. I completely forgot about that. I want him to, theoretically, all of that. I want him to move on, decreasing the military budget. I want him to do that, right? Oh, right. Yes. This is from a conceptual basis. I'm not in Maine. I'm not his constituent. So he won't be representing me. This is just from what I would like to see in a theoretical perspective, right? I think him supporting Medicare for all is good. It's fine. I think what else do you believe? I think him like wanting the genocide to end is good and fine. However, people are saying that Graham Platner is anti-Zionist. I think the definition of anti-Zionist has gotten very muddied in the last few years. Graham Platner is not an anti-Zionist, or I don't think Graham Platner is anti-Zionist. I want him to call for the dissolution of the apartheid state of Israel. You know, I want him to move on that. He has not done that. He's not talked about Israel as an apartheid state. He has not addressed Israel in the way that it exists to oppress Palestinians since its inception, right? He's only focused specifically on this phase of the genocide, right? I wanted to move on that. To be fair, by definition, Mamdani is an anti-Zionist either. Yeah, and that's a bad thing, right? We should be pushing Mamdani on that too. I think Mamdani is better though. Too. Does that make sense? I'm consistent on that point, right? I'm not saying you're not, but I'm saying that I am consistent on that point. I think we've moved too far on like letting politicians get away with that.
Kind of would be offsetting,
right? I haven't pushed that point too much
in China.
Like, sure, right? In that, like, I don't think he would vote for war with China. I don't think, honestly, most politicians would vote for war with China. Most people want like the status quo. They don't want to like fan flames. Is a war on China? No, he wants like cooperation on China. So less like of a China war hawk than some others. Don't know if he thinks it's a pointless war or not, though. That's true. Slightly more left, Tucker Carlson is the vibes Platner always gave me. Like, he doesn't like the American money being used, not the genocide, acts of genocide itself. He wants to expand the military. That's also true, but like, he just wants to. I can honestly see him wanting to expand the military because he wants it to look cool. You know what I mean? How he will vote is literally nobody knows. Like, he's just like, bro, I like giant boats with giant guns on them, kind of thing, right? And if one day he'll be like, well, no, I won't vote for more war, and the next day he might, because he's so inconsistent. Ryan tweeted. What did Ryan say? He's a history buff. What did he say? Ryan has been eulogizing him, basically. Ryan and Ponjog's your move. Platner's source of strength was the people passionately committed to volunteer for him. On his campaign Discord, people were sharing his feelings of betrayal, heartbreak, and resignation. He's lost his base. It no longer seems like a question of whether he will drop out, but when, and whether his campaign, by virtue of an overwhelming primary win, will be able to influence who replaces him. I'm sure Ryan feels bad because he did a lot of work sucking him off. Just, I can understand knowing all of that not be worth it. I can see why that's frustrating. And the dominoes fall. It doesn't feel safe anymore. He even worked the balls too. I get it, understanding. He deserves to feel embarrassed and humiliated, fucking clan member. Yeah, but he doesn't. Ryan Grimm's not embarrassed. I don't think he's embarrassed. I don't think anybody supporting Platner is embarrassed. Right? They should be. But there's not going to be any chat. They literally did it with John Fetterman, Ryan Grimm included. Right? They literally, like all these white leftists literally did the exact same thing with John Fetterman. Do another Sean Shree when another scandal hits the towers. If it drops tonight, if it drops tomorrow, I'll just give it a normal time. I have to go to DC at some point to pick up my freaking keys. I literally have to drive 6 hours to get my keys. At some point in the next week. Move on like nothing happened. That's literally what happened. Uber it. I'm not Ubering 6 hours. Mail, they're not going to send it in the mail, unfortunately. He's not calling these people leftists, claiming the word with non-DSA Dem candidates. No, they are leftists, unfortunately. Y'all gotta own that. What's the equivalent of this in Ryan Grimm's Platner is like gay people metaphor? Good question. I don't know. That is a good question. I can't believe he did that. It seems like more POC should be the leaders of the left at this point. Let's be honest. Yeah, but like, do you think they're gonna listen to black people, bro? Bro, if they listened to me, we wouldn't be in a situation in the first place. The Mason 16 is coming out with something else. Yeah, apparently there is something else dropping. Mason told me what it is. I'm not gonna tell y'all what it is until it drops. I am tired. I'm not familiar. Is Ryan Grimm that bad? I followed him. I followed Drop Site for Gaza and Cuba related news. If you followed him for that, you're probably, you don't see the bad stuff, so you're probably good. But no, Ryan Grimm is like, yeah. Honestly, if you don't want to know my thoughts on any specific person, go to my YouTube channel. Go to my live tab. Scroll until you see their name in the title. Click that and watch it. Because I talked about a lot of stuff. Mason told us also about Platner. Yes. Go to slurred tier list. Also, when it was crazy, I used to work with Cheyenne, who's mentioned in this article. We worked together. I used to be involved in like the political space chat. I didn't just used to be a streamer. There's so much Sean lore. There's a lot of Sean lore. Did you watch her video? No, I did not. Honestly, I don't even really know about what did Cheyenne post. Sometimes Cheyenne just be posting, you know. Also, don't call Olivia my friend. How dare you? Stop.
For the past several weeks, our organization has been working with multiple women with stories of physical and sexual abuse at the hands of Graham Platner. We've been helping them through the process of sharing those stories with reporters and ensuring that they are physically and legally safe while doing so, including by securing them pro bono legal representation. The process of sharing trauma doesn't happen on our timeline or the timeline of elections. It takes time. And now these stories are ready to be told. We are incredibly grateful to these courageous women who put their trust in us and are coming forward at great personal risk to expose the truth, protect other women, and ensure that Maine voters are not forced to choose between a predator and a traitor to women. When I revoked my personal endorsement of Platner in June,
are they gonna endorse somebody else? I honestly don't even know if they're like, are there like people throwing their hat into the ring? Like, actually, are people just like being like, oh, we should put this person instead? Are people actually putting their hat into the ring?
I hadn't been connected with these women yet. I made that decision based solely on the information that was already publicly available. And while I faced political backlash for speaking out, I knew that it was the right thing to do because those accounts, along with
Jackson, are the names being floated.
Platner's comments excusing sexual assault, already established a clear pattern of disrespect and dangerous behavior towards women that was disqualifying for anyone looking to hold public office, full stop. I made that.
I will say, right, is that like, I don't know, I don't think you can be like anti-Swalwell and pro-Platner. I don't. Like, if you called out Eric Swalwell and said that he should leave Congress, like, to be like morally consistent, you had to call the same for Graham Platner, right? It may work. Stop laughing. Stop laughing at me, chat. It's not funny, right? It may work because it's easy to call Eric Swalwell because Eric Swalwell was not like the most progressive person running for California governor, right? So it's easy to call out Eric Swalwell, right? It's easy to say that Graham Platner, easy to say that Eric Swalwell should drop out of the gubernatorial race, right? When you're like, oh, well, Tom Steyer is there and I want Tom Steyer to win, right? It's more difficult when there's actually something on the line to actually stand by your principles, right? It's more difficult when there's actually like something to lose to actually, be like, yes, it would be harder, it would be more difficult, it would be tougher if it wasn't Graham Platner, but morally, it still needs to be done. And we wouldn't be in this situation in the first place. You even live in it. We wouldn't even be in a situation in the first place if we were talking about this 9 months ago when the first stuff dropped. Right? But leftists were so worried about, oh, Maine voters won't care about this. Maine voters won't care about the tattoo. They won't care about the Blackwater. They won't care about the 4 tours. They won't care about Abu Ghraib. They won't care about his Reddit post and him being anti-black or misogynistic. Won't care about that. Right? Won't care about the first allegation. It was always Maine voters won't care about this until it's something that Maine voters might actually care about.
Secretary of _Transdifa just subscribed.
You put yourself in a situation if you were supportive of Platner. You put yourself in the situation of having to, like, 1, look stupid, but 2, having to scramble in the first place. You're like no different from the Democratic Party keeping Joe Biden in. We all said how stupid of a decision it was when there were so many red flags with Joe Biden in the first place. But he kept pushing until the straw broke the camel's back, and he did that debate, and he needed to drop out. Right? And we all yell at how dumb the Democratic Party was for keeping him in so long. But there's no introspection, there's no self-reflection to think, am I doing the exact same thing with Graham Platner? There was red flag after red flag after red flag after red flag, and y'all kept pushing him so much until there was something that was actually indefensible, not just with us, because it wasn't to you, indefensible to the Maine voters, and now you have to handle that. Now you have to eat that. Now you have to accept that. And we wouldn't even be in a situation if we were able to do that months ago, right? In November and in December, we should have been like, we need somebody different. We need to find somebody different, right? Other than Graham Platt. Somebody who doesn't have this baggage. Somebody who doesn't have this morally repugnant history, right? Somebody that we could actually push for and be excited about pushing for, right? So let's thank you for the raid. Welcome in. Hello. We're talking about Graham Platter. I think it's in the title. Did this on 428. I have no idea what damage it does to your movement when you have people pull up your shit and tarnish it with no regard. Does not feel horrible to have Fetterman associated with progressivism. Yeah. And now we have it again. Do it a year out, 2 years. No, it wasn't 2 years. It was a year out, basically. It was 1 year out, right? A year ago. He launched his campaign in August. I said in August, he's not the guy. He had 4 different controversies drop in September and October. I said in September and October, he's not the guy. I said it in December, he's not the guy. I said it in January, he's not the guy. I said it in February, he's not the guy. I said it in March, he's not the guy. I said it in April, he's not the guy. I said it in May, he's not the guy. I said it in June, he's not the guy. And I'm saying it in July, and people are finally waking up to that. People are finally waking up to him may not being the guy. He may not be the guy for some reason. And we had time then, and now we're like, well, now we can't replace him because he's all that we have. Right? And what's even more frustrating is that we've only been talking about electoralism for the past little bit, right? I don't want to have a rapist represent progressives in Congress. That should be enough. I don't want a rapist to be representing my movement in Congress. And that should have been enough for them, right? After the first allegation. I don't want a Blackwater mercenary representing us. And that should have been enough for them months ago. It's awfully puritanical of you. Yes, I know. Nazi tattoos should have been enough. Their service should have been enough. Yeah. The murderers in U.S. politics, no former active duty, they're all mentally ill. Again, I don't even necessarily fully agree with that, right? I think that there could be somebody who was in active duty, who renounced their service, who comes back and has a moral position. Graham Platner's not that guy, though. Many people ignore the obvious flaws in his character because he played into aesthetics they liked. That is a fantastic way of putting it. Great first message, Shatter. Great first message. Fantastic way of putting it. Thank you. We literally been saying that, and it's so frustrating because people yelled at me for saying that. People yelled at me for saying that. I went back and forth with so many what's it called? Not contractors. Went back and forth with so many chatters, because, right? We need to talk about the defense contractor left, where I discussed this at length.
I think the last episode was a call back to the CW Supernatural show. I mean, I heard it was like they brought some of the cast back, but like,
okay, why am I talking about Supernatural?
what do you? Hey, there's no defense here. It's also bad. They're both bad in different ways. This entire conversation is like, I think he could be better in instances. I think Hassan is a little bit different than like. And number 4 is dependent on how he reacts here.
Oh, here.
Not be.
Subscribe.
Where he said releasing their autopsy? I'm okay with Platner growing as a person. Yeah, I would be okay with that too if he did that actually. And actually apologize for it.
I live like a capitalist every single day.
Sharon Blackwood think
I live
that's
as a
22 months.
capitalist. Okay, I live when I believe.
And then promised your
wow.
2024 autopsy would be different. Your exact quote was, "Of course."
He did? No, he didn't. He still lies about it.
Moth, can we check the chatter out too? Just to see what they're up to? Just to see what they're up to. How they're feeling.
We covered it yesterday. He lies about being a part of Blackwater. I was never a part of Blackwater. He says with a picture in front of being a part of Blackwater. Nope. Yes, he did. We covered it yesterday. Are you stupid? We literally covered it yesterday. Verbatim, word for word, bar for bar, he lied. We literally watched it yesterday. He said the words, "I was never a part of Blackwater." And then he had a picture of him in front of a Blackwater sticker. We literally covered it yesterday. Literally. It was like 3 hours of the stream. You can go back and watch it. You can like Platner. Don't lie about it. Gosh darn it. If you want to subscribe to the defense contractor left, you can do that. But don't lie about it. Gosh darn it. Stand by it. Stand by something. Stand for something. Stand for something. Be principled. Be principled. I'm not even saying that he's going to be Fetterman. I'm just saying don't lie about it. I'm just saying that I personally have beef with Grant Platner because he is lying about his history in his past. And that I don't know if I can fully trust him as a
Jackson
person.
getting tapped as Platner's replacement. I've heard that as well. But I don't think he's willing to give it up. I don't believe it. Genuinely. I cannot see Graham Platner actually be willing to give it up. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Come on, what did Jenk say? Listen, Jenk has historically bad takes. Historically bad takes. We'll get to it in a second. So if you're aligned with Jenk, then like, cooked. Yeah, Mari, thank you for the raid. I'm very convinced he's cooked, man. He's dropping. Really? I don't know. I don't know. I think under normal circumstances, it would be enough to push somebody out. It pushed Swalwell, not even just out of his race, but out of Congress, right?
Currently clean on OPSEC.
But do we think that Graham Platner is somebody who is willingly wants to give up the power, right? His next story, brother, ain't no way. Okay, we'll see for the next story. I do hear you. Currently, I think for what it is now, I say probably not, but next story I can see. We'll see. Because he lies about his past and his history. So then lie, if he doesn't betray them, you cut off your hair or something like that. No, I don't care if he betrays them or not. I don't care. I literally don't care. That's not my point. I don't give two flying flips. I'm not in Maine. My point is very specific. You cause harm to marginalized people. You need to apologize and be accountable for it. He lied about that, which means he's not doing the accountability part, which means that it's bad and wrong. And he needs... Okay, brief aside. There's so much going on. Apparently, the person who leaked that Mitch McConnell's cardiac arrest, saying that Mitch McConnell's brain dead. What is happening, bro? What is going on? What is going on? We'll get back to that in a second. Jeez Louise. To acknowledge the harm that he caused and apologize for it. But he instead is like, well, I never joined Blackwater, actually. Didn't do it. Never happened. Because he's a liar. Was that? Not two, because I can't give you two of them. He's a liar. Specifically, he's untrustworthy because he's a liar. You got time to chat no reason at all? I didn't do it. I was too busy yelling at you for being stupid. He's not apologetic about his military service either, right? No, he's not at all apologetic about his military service. He is more just upset that the military was over there in the first place. But he's liked his military service. He liked being a part of the military. He didn't like that the military was in the Middle East specifically. Like, he did not like the war on terror specifically as a, invasion and occupation.
Sean, the Black says,
which I guess, 5 points to him out of 100 for that part of it. But, no, he still likes his service. He's like, I was a military, Marine, and Army veteran.
I live as a captain.
What I love most about Maine are the people. I have never met people who are more hard scrabble, even in a place that requires you to work like 2 or 3 different jobs. We have watched this state become essentially unlivable for working class people, and it makes me deeply angry. My name is Graham Platner, and I'm running for U.S. Senate in Maine to defeat Susan Collins. A decade of military service going overseas, farming oysters to feed my community, diving to lend a hand to other fishermen, trying to start a family.
From reading into Mitch's wife is MIA, so they might be doing this to keep him from being special elected. That's what I read. And I believe it fully. I believe it fully. I believe he's actually dead, and they're trying to begin to burning him to make it to the 13th of August.
But everywhere I've gone, it seems like the fabric of what holds us together is being ripped apart by billionaires and corrupt politicians.
Yeah, we get it.
He stands by this. What do you mean? It's still on his channel. What do you mean? What do you mean post the age of this video too? He's for this. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Do you think he's like, I hated being a Marine or something? Do you think he says that? Do you think he believes that?
Yeah. This went on for an extra 6 hours, by the way. Okay, extra 4 hours. I was someone for asking him to apologize and ban him from his chat. That's not entirely surprising.
Our families in the poverty.
Do people now watch that video in good faith? No, of course not.
Crushing the middle class. I did 4 infantry tours in the Marine Corps and the Army. I'm not afraid to name an enemy, and the enemy is the oligarchy. It's the billionaire.
That's a little bit of a weird line. That's weird. It's a weird thing. What do you mean? I did 4 tours in the military, in the Army and the Marines. I'm not afraid to name an enemy. Who were the enemies when you were in the Marines? And that's weird. It's strange. I don't know. That's strange. I don't know. It's weird. It's interesting. This is weird. But anyway, I don't even care about literally any of this. What I care about is him lying about being a part of Blackwater. Which, do I have to pull that up too? I'll pull it up. I'll do it. I'll do it.
We got a whole bunch on end up working for Blackwater.
Oh, who is this, by the way? Who is this guy? Is this Ryan Grimm? Interesting.
I think a lot of people on the left would find that helpful to hear. They're worried you might be another Fetterman. Man, Fetterman is haunting.
There's a lot of trauma.
So much
I
trauma.
feel it too. There's a lot of trauma
he
there.
says, but I don't think you
Yeah,
are.
tough day for the white guys ain't scary crowd. Someone checking on Kyle. How is Kyle doing?
There were already signs of who Fetterman was when he was running and
There you
caving
go.
to DMFI, pro-Israel lobby.
Yeah, not to
How is Kyle doing, by the way? What's Kyle up to? Also, chatters, I said it before and I will say it again. If you get timed out in Hassan's chat, that is between you and Hassan. I can't save you, right? You can say what you want to say about Graham Platner here. If you go over there, you get timed out. I can't help you there. I can't save you. No, Kyle hasn't tweeted actually at all. Actually,
mention that whole incident where he like tried to murder a random black guy in his
There was
neighborhood.
that.
Yeah,
Not
there was-
mentioned
was a
enough.
kind
There
of a
was
red
that as
flag,
well.
Maybe
Not mentioned
I mean, like, not defending Fetterman here, but like, Graham Platner was part of Blackwater, so like, there are also signs here as well. I'm just saying.
more.
I'm
You
sorry,
say-
he's not a part of Blackwater. According
You
to them.
touched on this a bit during your last appearance on the show when you talked about your U.S. military service, but we didn't go into much into this the State Department security contractor. So who?
oh yeah, no, okay. He actually might be cooked. His video that he posted got 3.6 thousand likes and 2.8 thousand comments. Austin, audio being put on this for headphone users is great environmental storytelling. For the media team quit. Everyone was saying drop out. We didn't have to be here, bro. Bro, watch us hit at like 49 Senate seats. Watch us hit 49 Senate seats, and this is entirely Platwater people's fault. We could have been up, bro. We were fighting 2 geriatrics in Maine, and you couldn't put up literally anybody better than this guy? Literally. We were fighting 2 geriatrics, and you couldn't fight anything better than this guy. Nothing better than the Blackwater rapist guy. Are we serious here? And all of you let that slide. You're the same as people telling Hillary Clinton to run. You are the same thing as the Clinton heads. Putting up Hillary Clinton because like, oh no, Hillary Clinton can beat Trump for sure. You're no different. Jeez Louise. It literally didn't even need to be this difficult. Did not need to be this difficult. It should have been immediately. As soon as you heard he was in Blackwater, it should have been like, drop the guy. You ever talked about Troy Jackson, FC rumblings about him taking a Blackwater spot? I've not talked about him, right? Probably going to at some point now if he does drop out. I don't know who he is. I've heard like, his name around. I don't know anything about him, like as a person, as an entity. Apparently has the Bernie endorsed, the new one, the new Bernie endorsement. Platwater is the candidate equivalent of a pawn shop bargain of like a leftist candidate. You say, how about you give him $50 and maybe it's war criminal. Even the Nazi tattoo was a weird one and immediately made it acceptable of anything he did. And people defended it, chat. People, I have to remind you, because people are going to try to do revisionism about what happened with Graham Platner, right? They're going to pretend like this never happened. People defended the Nazi tattoo. People, like staunch, well-read, well-researched leftists, right, said, Totem Conf? I've never heard of a Totem Conf? Is that how you pronounce it? I've never heard of it. That's a Nazi symbol? What? Nazis use that? What? 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 That's craziness. You know what I mean? It's the third most recognized Nazi symbol. Yeah, after the swastika and like the SS lightning bolts. It's the total. It's literally the third most recognized symbol. I didn't get the tattoo. I was wrong. I will publicly eat my hat on this one. I just again, I want you to think why, right? Why it took that long. You know, I'm not gonna come at you specifically, right, for being like pro Grand Platner. Much. I will a little bit. But what I really want you to think about, right, is what about him was so necessary for you to support him where nobody else could have been a candidate. I want you to take that part of your brain who thought that, I want you to kill it. Right? Whatever it was, I want you to kill that part. Once you find it, don't even look at it, right? Close your eyes when you shoot it, okay? But I want you to shoot it. Whatever that was that kept you so tied to this man, no matter what he did, I want you to kill it. Right? Because I do think whiteness played a very big role in it for most people. Right? I think what Platner represented as a rough and tumble like white guy who was populist, right? A burly white guy. You know what I mean? I think that had a lot to do with it. The Ryan Grimm clip, if you have it, I don't even know what to look up to find it, right? But I want you to realize, you know who didn't have that baggage? Chris Rabb, Darty Eliza, Malon. You feel me? Corey Bush, Jabal Bowman. There's a number of different black leftist candidates, right? Out and about, established, your hearts will gray. A lot of candidates, black candidates, who did not have that insane amounts of baggage that could have used, right, that support, right? They won, but all of that attention that went to even like a non-black candidate, right? Even like Nate Blewin, right? Even Schweikart, right? Even Kat, right? Candidates that didn't win that could have used that attention over Graham Platner. Also, I'm not even going to read that because I don't want to read chat messages from a sunshine. But I want some lesson to come out of this, right? If Graham Platner drops out, right? Graham Platner, I have to remind, Graham Platner made me leave Twitch. They actually speak, right? Because of the Graham Platner stuff, that stuff is the reason why, how I was treated around Graham Platner, right? And what I saw around Graham Platner is what made me want to stop being a streamer and go back to school, right? And that's still happening. I'm going to school right now because of that. I was like, I don't want to be a part of this space with these people. Right? I want you to just keep that in mind. Right? Chris Rabb talked about it as well. Right? FD Signifiers talked about it as well. Black leftists see this. Right? Black leftists are engaged with this. This is all we see. Black leftists see this. And the truth is that people subscribe so close to whiteness, even people who are supposed allies, right? Supposed allies. People will subscribe so closely to whiteness that they would rather kick out every single black leftist in this space than to do a little bit of introspection about maybe this guy that we're supporting may not be the guy. Right? I showed you the Chris Rabb thing. I'll show you the FD Signifier one as well. Because he did the same thing. Why I left the white left.
I'm putting all white leftists on timeout until further notice. I've been hanging around y'all too long, and now I have lice. And black people shouldn't get lice. That it doesn't work like that.
Like
For
Chris
us.
Smiles under the
Lice in
same screening
America
for no reason when he was doing the Amazon Union stuff. Yeah, for sure.
Cannot survive in black hair. Y'all probably don't realize that because a lot of y'all don't be knowing shit about us, but we already off topic. And the fact that I be explaining black people shit is kind of why I have this problem in the first place.
People are mad at FD for this video, by the way. Yes, there are a lot of people who are mad at FD for this video.
We're going to start out talking Graham Platner a little bit because he's a great framing tool for everything I want to get off my chest. I want to be really clear. I'm going to say that a lot in this video. I don't like this dude. He feels like a seasonal villain from a prestige political drama like House of Cards or Scandal or something. I'm not saying he's a Nazi, but he's at least like Hydra or Order of the Cyclops for those of you that watched Watchmen all those years ago. He just is that guy, and it's incredibly obvious to anyone who isn't some of y'all. And this isn't just taking issue with his military service. I don't have a purity politic toward anything, really, if you know me, but definitely not ex-military people on the left. I am...
Oh, and by the way, kill the term ultra. Kill the term purity politics. Kill the term record. Kill him. Kill him. Kill them all. You gotta go. Gotta go. Kill Dark Woke. Hey, throw Idpol in there too. Throw Idpol in there too. These are all terms that I got for being anti-Platner. Caleb, I don't need I'm sorry. I don't need an apology. I want those terms gone. Because those were all terms thrown at people who are anti-Platner. For righteous reasons.
Anti-American military, like I don't want to misconstrue that, but there are also Black Panthers who were ex-military. The American military spends billions of dollars marketing and propagandizing young people across this country, so I try to hold a nuanced position for how that works. But I wouldn't apply this to Platner. 4 tours and Blackwater and a Nazi tattoo is a lot. And I know that's not a hot take. I know even more moderate folks would agree with that. So I have to wonder why and how is Platner being pushed so hard by the establishment and the online left in general? Platner is the latest project out of the Fight Agency. The Fight Agency is a political consultancy that was started by some ex-Bernie Sanders, ex-John Fetterman folks. And in recent years, they've been behind the success of Zohran Mamdani, as well as people like Dan Osborne, Bob Brooks, etc. And aside from Zohran Mamdani, you kind of see what's happening here. All we're missing is Hank Hill. Like, the main, mostly valid argument that I will get about Platner is that he's one of the few folks amongst the Democrats that vows to pull military support from Israel.
Not a single taxpayer dollar should be spent on arming and defending a country that commits a genocide.
And that is extremely important for Palestinian liberation. But I do have to ask, why are we being...
I want to point out one more time. This allegation against Platner is not new. Right? I hate this revisionism. This was an allegation that was addressed in the New York Times article. Right? So people who were throwing smoke on the New York Times article, this was something that was addressed in the New York Times article. It was something that was alluded to in the New York Times article that everybody says was a nothing burger, that everybody said was a fake Israeli smear campaign. Right? It was addressed. This is not a new thing, right? Ms. Undercut said that in 2021, he arrived at her house drunk after she had asked him not to come over. She declined to elaborate, but said that she cut off contact after that episode and found his behavior reckless and unsettling, right? If you take the glasses off for 1 second, right, you can see what this is being alluded to, right? This itself should have been enough for you to believe her. It shouldn't have taken this, because there's no new information in this, or there's some new information in this, right? But it's the same exact scenario that's being discussed, right? If you didn't believe this article, I want you to question yourself for a second. I want you to sit back and think, what is wrong with me? Right? You use the background of a totally separate victim to discredit what this victim was saying about it. And That's disgusting. It shouldn't take you seeing text messages for you to believe victims. It shouldn't take 3 different separate corroborating sources for you to believe victims. And I think if people came at this article with a little bit of leeway, I think if people came at this article as normal people and removed Graham Platner from their mind for 1 second, they would have been able to at least acknowledge that. It's so frustrating. I was literally saying this. I don't even know where it is. I don't even know if I covered it. I don't think I went live on YouTube.
Turning now to
where's it at? Is it this one? What's good? What is happening? What's been going?
Is this line?
I'm about to find it. No, it's not gonna come up. I think it was on my second channel. So I don't think I can find it actually. I genuinely think it was on my second channel. So I don't think I can find it. But I did cover it and I did talk about it. I know I did. Here, I want to go back to this.
Being asked to not just tolerate Platner for that reason, but to see him almost as
you find the last VOD on the channel. I won't. It's too long ago.
The future of the Democratic Party and maybe even the left.
Off. I wouldn't even say that it was my gut. It was the evidence that was in front of my eyes. This was not a gut feeling, you know. This was not a something that I had intuition about, right? This wasn't instinct. It was a very clear pattern of behavior of somebody who was violent. The article dropped right when you stopped streaming again? Yes, it did. Right? And I made my conclusion off of that. And people didn't see that because their eyes were blinded by what having a white, working class, progressive person would do for the wider movement. Well, Shiners, Spidey just told you the Blackwater guy was bad. Yeah. I could have not gotten there any other way.
Why has he become the darling of the online predominantly white left in this time frame? Why did the fight agency scout him in the first place? It's because the fight agency knows that this image of white American exceptionalism and especially masculinity is still highly valued amongst the white masses. He's doing a reskin of the Marlboro Man, or better yet, like Don Draper, Joel Miller from The Last of Us. Literally, he looks like Walter White. And I want you to remember, all of these characters were villains. And historically, it's always straight white men that fail to realize that fact.
Now, if you think about it, actually, Joel was just a father who is not a villain at all. He may have doomed all humanity, spoilers, but he did it because he's a father, actually. Sorry.
Fact about those characters. And when you're not a straight white male, you always take note of those types of fans. They may not be the worst people in the world.
Do you even live in Maine? Do you know who Janet is? You just want Janet Mills to win. Okay, that has to be a thing now, chat. The same way that whenever Dean comes on screen, people spam the cowboy. Anytime you see Graham Platner on my stream, you have to just say you just want Janet Mills to win. You have to. You have to. You just got Janeted.
But there are people to observe. But the left falling for the same trick like this is not surprising when you realize that white leftists in America have never consistently had a halfway decently developed racial analysis. And this is just a historical pattern at this point. Again, shout out to a book I've been reading from Brian Quoba, Hubert Harrison, The Forbidden Genius of Black Radicalism. Hubert Harrison was a lesser known black socialist who worked and wrote in the same eras as Booker T. Washington, Du Bois, and Garvey, and was to the left of all of them during that time, including Du Bois voice. But in this, he also found himself confounded by the challenge of organizing with white socialists who at the time could not see past their anti-Blackness to form effective solidarity and build a functional coalition. And this pattern has never stopped repeating, which is illustrated by this excerpt from Eugene Debs that's in the book. In capitalism, the Negro question is a grave one and will grow more threatening as the contradictions and complications of capitalist society multiply, Debs allowed. But this need not worry us. Let them settle the Negro question in their way if they can. We have nothing to do with it, for that is their fight. Debs here exemplified the way in which even radical white people who called for a working class revolution against capitalism could simultaneously distance themselves from the specific challenges facing the most oppressed segment of the working class. I'm bringing...
You know what? I've changed my mind. I've realized that I can excuse anti-Blackness, misogyny, being a part of a Blackwater mercenary group, doing 4 tours in Afghanistan and Iraq, being misogynistic. Well, I already said that one. Being on Kick, the messaging platform, distancing myself from socialism, dropping slurs, and abuse allegations part 1. And the Nazi tattoo. But then I finally realized that the abuse allegations part 2 that were mentioned in part 1, that's too far. I see the light now. I see the light now. Do you see how insane that sounds, by the way? Do you see how insane that sounds? That's craziness. Has there been new abuse allegations like since the original article? It depends on what you mean by original article. Like, do you mean original article like the New York Times one? If so, yes. If you mean the original article like the political one, then no. Or not yet, depending on how you look at it. Wait, not this one. Not this one. Not this one. Not this one. This one. This one.
This up because I want to show that this is an infinite loop at this point. White leftists with little to no racial analytical frame can't help but censor their sensibilities, even in the face of obvious red flags, or clearly better options if they don't appeal to their aesthetics and need to censor themselves. Why have we centered Graham Platner when we have Chris Robb, who...
Great question. Great question. I wonder if there's going to be any introspection about that at all, literally ever at all. In the article where we were all told that it was a Republican smear with no validity? Yeah, yep, Justine. That's the exact article I mean, actually. I remember that happening exactly like 1 month ago. Not very long ago, actually. I do remember that, exactly. And I remember us all collectively saying we should take it seriously, right? In that it's a very serious allegation that we should freaking take seriously. And people were like, no, of course not. No, it's obviously not true. Obviously it's a smear, and obviously it's never not true, not ever. I remember that happening, actually. I do. It is a thing that I remember. Right? People were calling me a Zionist because of it. I do remember that. I wish I could show you the take. I wish I could, but actually, I think I actually might be able to find it. Hold on. I'm gonna go here. I go here. Content, video producer. No, actually, it's not here. Gosh darn it. Okay, what about one last thing I could try to find it? Search streamers. Okay. Hmm. I see it here. I literally can't watch it. It wasn't recorded. Unfortunate. Unfortunately. It was there though.
Who, from what I understand, is the furthest left candidate the Democrats have ever had in any political race. And he low-key still fits the gruff leftist daddy kink that so many of y'all seem to like. Another face that I haven't seen on my feed at all and I had to get from somebody else is Charles Booker. Booker has as progressive an agenda as you can have in mainstream politics and is in a very vulnerable red state that could use a lot more attention and support from the online left. And it's
or
not
Elijah Manley is another one.
There. Booker's not just anti-sending weapons to Israel. He's Medicare for all. He's for universal basic income, stopping data centers, decriminalizing poverty, and reparations. Is everything you can want from a mainstream.
They don't care about reparations. Let's be real about that.
Mainstream politician, but he's invisible compared to Platner. I don't follow elections much unless it's local, but I have seen Platner's face a million times more than either Rob or Booker. Rob did spend some time with Hassan. Booker, he's got nothing as far as I can tell. Meanwhile, Platner has tons of interviews, Majority Report, Mehdi Hassan, New York Times. Why is this happening? Why is that viable? From my perspective and experience, a lot of white leftists understand that it's bad to be racist, but they don't actually understand why racism is bad or how it works. The absence of a critical understanding of how whiteness works is why a lot of them fall for the same trick over and over, to the point where the fight agency clearly has this type built out just for y'all. If you want to vote for Platner as an odious candidate that will help end military support to Israel, go ahead, but it should be treated as a tainted compromise for the sake of a free Palestine, not a vision for the future of the left. He should not be in our faces as much as he is. He should not have the defenders that he has that I know will show up in his comment section. He should be the online left's sneaky link that you never see in the light of day and never talk about in public. And the fact that so many white leftists don't feel this is sadly par for the course. The red flags that he has don't bother some of y'all because those red flags have never been weaponized against you. But when you're someone who's historically been targeted by this archetype, you pay attention to those patterns. You don't compromise with that. For reasons I won't get into, I've had to spend the last few weeks arguing that normalizing Nazi terminology, but wokely, is bad and that no one on the left should be doing it. And I've had some, not many, I want to be clear, but plenty of white leftists try to argue that nobody cares about Nazis, as if a couple of Nazis didn't just shoot up a mosque in San Diego just a few weeks ago, or the fact that that exact type of Nazi terrorism happens like every 6 to 18 months in America. And it's impossible to remain in community or struggle with people who don't seem to mind that, who always put themselves first, especially when the struggle isn't about them in the first place. And after half a decade online, I'm tired of seeing this pattern and repeating these same complaints. But the problem is that this entire space has always catered to a specific type of white guy online, and that's what it was built for and what it always probably will be. See, BreadTube emerged as a venue to rehabilitate right-wing edgelords into leftist progressives, all after the rise of the alt-right. It has always had an extremely high tolerance for what Graham Platner is, because he just like them for real. And while not every aspect of BreadTube has catered to this reformed edgelord Reddit troll archetype, it's clear that this element of the space remains influential and often sets the tone for the space, because even if these types don't make up the largest part of our audiences, they're almost always the loudest part, always the most online and the most active of the bunch. So let's talk about some drama for a bit. For years, I have not responded to drama.
I feel like that is the Platner section. Yeah. So he goes on for a little bit longer, like 30 minutes. That's the section that matters as it pertains to Graham Platner. Right. I don't really know what else to say, so I'll just keep playing my older words, so maybe you'll actually understand it better in a different context.
Would you work for? Why and why? And for people who are skeptical of American empire, why should that not be disqualifying?
So, I never worked for Blackwater. This is I've been, like, I see this everywhere, and I'm always like, oh, for God's sake.
Can I also say, by the way, another progressive victory L. I don't know when they will stop taking L's. Just another progressive victory L as it pertains to supporting Grand Platner. And they get away with it all the time. Looking in plenty of places and saw just talking that about why we're supposed to support someone that went back for more war crimes. They take the bullshit and then heat a lot of voices like ours who don't get heard. So no worries. And then replace Platter Power for birthday cards now? No, I will not.
Not be disqualifying.
So, I never worked for Blackwater. This is I've been, like, I see this everywhere, and I'm always like, oh, for God's sake. The company that we all know is Black.
Like, I'm sorry. Y'all thought somebody who lied about working for Blackwater was like would not lie about like being a rapist and doing sexual assault? You feel me? Also, I love your optimism, Chatter, that this will be the last Platinum Power Hour. I'm with you. Sadly, the creators that invalidate these critiques are shedding accountability fast. This means that the brunt of this will fall in the laps of too fast. Like FD and Sean, without them properly addressing where they went wrong, people will gravitate towards the perpetrators. The perpetrators deemed by these influencers. Yeah. It's also, I don't know, it's also slightly frustrating that RSVP is Wild Platinum Power Hour. It's also slightly frustrating when like people will like benefit off of like Platinum praise when it's popular to grow their audience, but then will also turn around and shed it as soon as it becomes unpopular to then be on the correct side of things to also then grow their audience, right? Because, you know, being publicly like wrong is, you know, hard. It's sort of the most critical of politics. Yeah. And so that's why it's also frustrating. Like I'll be like anti-Platner and like my streams are not gonna like blow up to a bajillion dollars streams or whatever. But then I would be like vindicated on Platner, and then people would just be like, oh, well, it's whatever. And then it's just like there's never any introspection of like, huh, maybe the black leftists who had this take before this are like worth listening to. We should actually listen to what they were saying, actually. Maybe actually. You know? What do I know? What do I know?
Blackwater, the one that Jeremy Scahill wrote about back in the late 2000s. That company, Eric Prince's little kind of warlord fantasy, that company essentially went away after 2012. And it was sold. I forget who bought it. There were several iterations afterwards, similar, like same facility down in North Carolina. And this is something that I think
But he's a liar. He worked for Blackwater. He worked for Constellas, which is what Blackwater turned into after they changed their name after committing a bunch of war crimes under all of their different names. They were Blackwater, war crimes. They changed their name from Blackwater to Z Services, war crimes. They added Pyramid on, more war crimes. Changed their name to Academy, war crimes. They added in Triple Canopy, changed their name to Constellas, and then guess what? They committed more war crimes. And then Grand Platner joined after all of that. All of that happened before he joined.
So, guys, who do you think will be the next Platner? Do you think he'll drop out, or do you think Dems will try to force him out? I think Dems will try to force him out. I think it remains to be seen about what drops next. Because I do know one other thing is also dropping. Sean's really clicking here. Wouldn't you agree, Sean? I do agree. I wonder if the next Sean agrees with me, the person who watches this VOD. Do you agree, Sean? Awesome. I don't mind looking up. All of my cameras are always down. It's like over there.
So So no, I think it's kind of fair, a little bit fair, for somebody to ask this question about, hey, why? Would be to your right. It would be over there. You're right. It would be over there. It's my left, technically. It would be that way. And I'm not gonna sit here and be treated like I'm crazy for asking what is a very fair and reasonable question about why did you do this thing? I think that is a question that he should have to answer. It should not be, oh, for God's sakes, why do I have to respond to this, bro? I never worked for Blackwater. It was just the 4th name change after a bunch of war crimes they committed. Is that not silly? Is that not a little bit silly? Please, tell me if that's not a little bit silly. Maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe I'm wrong and incorrect here. I don't know. Like, I want to talk about Graham Platner positively. Well, I want to be able to not talk about Graham Platner at all right? But gosh darn it, stop lying about him. He's going to win. You don't have to lie about him. Am I crazy? You don't have to lie about him. He's going to win. To reiterate, before you say I was wrong about this, I was specifically talking about the primary. All right, this was before the primary happened. I was specifically referring to the primary, and I was correct about that. He did win the primary. So I just want to point that out before you say that I was wrong about this. Yeah, the future, Sean. For the future, Sean, I'm going to reiterate that I was talking about the primary, that he did win. He was 30 points up for Janet Mills before she dropped out. I was correct about that. Anyway. He's literally like 12 points ahead. He's going to win. He will lose nothing by actually not lying about his history. Okay, I was wrong about that. Because if you told the truth, yeah. To be fair, if he told the truth, I think people would have defended it. I just don't know why, like people sat down with this guy, by the way. Like, people sat down with this guy and was like, we want you to run. What are your skeletons in your closet? And he's like, I may have done a little bit of sexual assault. And they were like, don't worry about it. It'll be fine. Good enough. Like, oh, another thing. I have a Nazi tattoo. Oh, don't worry about that. I was part of Blackwater. Oh, don't worry about that. I have all these Reddit posts. Oh, don't worry about that. It's fine. That's fine. Nah, you're good. They heard all of that and they were like, yeah. He probably lied to them and they believed him. No, that's not true. Because we know that he knew that these allegations were out there. They probably thought that nobody would believe him. Do you think that people like Platner are capable of reform, or should we give them a chance or just move on? I mean, can you reform somebody who is still currently denying in the face of overwhelming evidence that, like, he even did anything wrong? You know? Like, I will entertain that question once he even tries. Once he even tries to take accountability for that, then I'll answer that question. Until then, this guy is waving so many red flags. Actually, sadly, people were desperate for an anti-genocide candidate. They ignored everything else. It's just like the idea that you couldn't have found any other person to be anti-genocide in Maine is, I think that's silly. If Maine is that much of a lost cause, go ahead and cut it off, right? Go ahead and cut it off of Ro. Ooh, show me what Ro Khanna's saying. Because Ro Khanna was writing for this man. Oh, okay, he's done. He's done.
I've been clear about sexual assault or violence against women is a red line. The allegations are very serious and credible. Graham Platner should drop out of the race. I'm withdrawing my endorsement. Broski, you endorsed him after they came out first time. They dropped last month. And you endorsed him. What are we talking about? People were dragging AOC for not endorsing even the first round of allegations. Yes, they were. They were yelling at AOC for not endorsing Graham Platner. They were yelling at Chris Rabb for not endorsing Graham Platner. AOC's looking like the kingmaker right now. Yeah, like I had my beef with AOC, but like she made a good decision. Like I gotta be real. I gotta be real. She made a good decision. She made a. People were like, "Oh, AOC's it's dumb and stupid, yada 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 yada." She made a W decision there. AOC has good political sense. I don't know about good. Good is like extends it pretty far. My personal opinion. She makes a cautious, right? She made a cautious political decision that happened to turn out well. That's what I will say. Was the only person who is POC endorsed him that is left. She worked tirelessly not to endorse him. That is kind of funny. I did like that. Yeah, no, he's like losing endorsements. He's cooked. He's cooked. He's gone. He's gone. It's also funny. I talked to a bunch of some of my friends, right, in the politics space, like a month ago. And I told them this. I told them to be cautious and wary of Graham Platner. What takes me off about people being critical of AOC, Rab, and FD is that they all say something to the effect of, oh, this person just doesn't know any better, doesn't have the information. We just need to talk some sense into them, as if the people of color aren't educated to make these decisions. Yeah. And they turn out to be the hugely correct decision. Hello, QB. For the Graham News after some see what Rashad is saying. Ooh, there. As a take, which is why he's going to win. Like super, like he thinks feels right. Like the amount of beef that, gosh freaking darn, Josh Shapiro gets for being in the IDF. Like I would expect him to answer for that too. You put Josh Shapiro in a stage in front of me, like whether he's defending Israel now or not, I don't care. Like you gotta. That is a question you have to answer for. Why did you do that? Why did you go do that? Have you seen this? What I mean? Yes, I have seen this. I haven't looked into it. I haven't read it because I'm waiting for official confirmation. But I did see that. Like, Jasper's too busy putting on a black scent. To be fair, it's a Barack scent. But like. That's just like, don't lie about it. That's my take. My take on Graham Platner is that like, if you want to support him, you can support him. I will side eye you a little bit, but you can support him. But like, don't try to misrepresent his history and his past. That's my biggest beef, right? If you want to say that like, oh, listen, he's the best option we have, and it's frustrating that he has his past and I don't like it, I'd be like, okay, whatever. You know what I mean? But honestly, at this point, people were just like, no, I like the guy. I kind of like this past. It's kind of actually sick and great. That's the part I'm just like, okay, sure. Jeez Louise. Let's continue with Ken Martin, I guess. There's no reason to support him unless you are in Maine. There's so many better people to build up as national figures instead. Again, I said this yesterday. I'll say it again. Oh, sorry. Give me 1 second.
Looking sharp today, Chad.
That was my original take. As time went on, it got harder to be neutral. Like a dude, he was a horrible candidate and to represent the left, right? Like Ryan and Crystal were writing for him, are just unprincipled.
2 days ago, I'll say it again today.
I do wonder how Breaking Points is going to cover this. I genuinely wonder how Breaking Points is going to cover this.
The reason why people are putting him up as national figures.
Oh, thank you for the bits, chat. Also, Hype Train is incoming, apparently. I'll think all the subs before I end stream. Excuse me. Okay, let's see the majority report. Jacobin 2. That guy and Crystal finally agreed. That guy talked about Fetterman. Yeah, but we didn't know Fetterman. Okay, we didn't get confirmation Fetterman was bad until Fetterman got in office already. Right? So I think it'll be a little bit different. But has been extremely mediocre from the start, but I was willing to give him a chance because he's pro working class stands, very disappointed in the learning experience for sure. Thank you. I'll take that. I'll take that. That's all I can hope for, is that people learn from this.
Because he's a rough and tumble.
Fetterman did shoot that guy? No, he just chased the guy. Right? They defended that part.
Blue collar-esque white guy. He's not actually blue collar. He's a petite bourgeois, like, business owner. Like, yeah, like, so, like, yeah, like, he's like.
The conversation we had on Fetterman was Summer and apparently Rab. So once again, black progressives. Interesting. Almost like there's a trend there. Do you think they'll listen to us the next time this happens, chat? Can I get a 1 in the chat if you think that they will? 2 in the chat if you think that they won't.
Class trader because he cares about, like, you know, protecting the working class, but he's not working class. He owns a business. He's a business owner.
Not a single one. We're so cooked. Yeah. Nobody even hit 1 by accident. Oh, we're cooked. We're cooked. Yeah. What was the question? No, don't worry about it.
He did not get coerced into the poverty draft. He's not like a poverty stricken
1.5.
Like, I don't know, like working class.
You're on the right side, and those who have been victims and know victims appreciate when men take the right side. That'd be you. If it helps, I am also a victim. So I'm with you. We are aligned.
Dude or whatever. He's a petite bourgeois business owner, and that's fine.
The
right?
Kyle
That's
tweet, we
fine.
talked about it yet. He also hasn't tweeted, and Kyle tweets all the time. So, I mean, the next few days will just be like seeing what people say about it. You know, this is going to be the news.
Okay. Don't lie about his past. That's my biggest beef. That's literally my biggest beef. I literally do not care at all if people are like, I'm the biggest Graham Platner fan. Don't lie about his past.
You think there's more? Yes.
Or his policies now. Right?
Anyway, we're going to skip to another section because why not?
But like, it's but I feel socialist. I don't care about progressive non-socialists are excited about him. I get the, I don't know. People are happy he's winning in a purple state. I get that we don't like him, but I feel like you're being obtuse as to why progressive non-socialists are excited about him. No, I'm not talking about progressive non-socialists. I don't care about progressive non-socialists. They like him and he's popular. I know why he's popular, you fucking moron. I'm talking about why actual socialists are supporting him. Actual leftists are lying about his positions, which they are. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about leftists who are positioning him as like, you don't understand. Like he's apologized for his Blackwater stint when he's denying it. Like the chatter that we just saw. You know what I mean? I was talking about like people being like, oh no, he's gonna like lead the like leftist vanguard party. I know why he's popular, right? He's anti-establishment, which is from Maine. I don't give two fucks about Maine. I don't live in Maine. I don't care. I don't come here giving you electoral strategy for Maine. That's not why I'm here. My goal, and I will say it again, is to protect marginalized people. I will say it slowly for you because apparently you need it. Protect marginalized people. If you cause harm to marginalized people, you need to take accountability. Bro, what happened to my internet, bro? Hello? Oh, okay, we're back. Bro, Graham Platner got me. We're back. F5, 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 F5. I run it back. I was cooking. Run it back, I was cooking. Fucks about Maine. I don't live in Maine. I don't care. I don't come here giving you electoral strategy for Maine. That's not why I'm here. My goal, and I will say it again, is to protect marginalized people. I will say it slowly for you because apparently you need it. Protect marginalized people. If you cause harm to marginalized people, you need to take accountability for it, apologize for it, and to change your behavior. And guess what? Graham Platner, by joining Blackwater, the Nazi child-killing brigade, caused harm to marginalized people. And guess what? He needs to apologize. I do love that Marty Taylor Greene is protecting Graham Platner. She's still a Republican by nature, bro. Of course she's going to protect the rapists. Apologize for it, which he hasn't done. He needs accountability for it, which he hasn't taken. And he needs to radically change behavior, which I haven't seen. That's it. It's very, very simple. Very simple. If he wasn't running for Senate, it would be the same take. If he was like, I'm now a progressive YouTuber or whatever, right? He caused harm to people. He needs to acknowledge the harm that he caused to people, apologize for it, and then change his behavior. He hasn't done that. It is very simple. That's step number one before I could even talk about him as a candidate. That is step number one. I don't care about anything else until that happens. Because why do I care about him being elected if not he's getting elected to protect marginalized people? If he can't acknowledge the harm he caused now, he's not going to do it then either. He's going to use it strategically. I think Scary's getting bigger support than you think, and black people in general could see this campaign. Nationally, all I'm saying, I don't see him getting out of Maine. I care about him being elected if not he's getting elected to protect marginalized people. If he can't acknowledge the harm he caused now, he's not going to do it then either. People using him strategically. I think you're scared he's getting bigger support than you think, and black people in general could sink his campaign. Nationally is all I'm saying. I don't see him getting out of Maine. What are you talking about? I wonder how the chatter is doing. Miles, can we check if the chatter is still around? If the chatter has said anything today? Just curious. What are you talking about? Rose did not address anything that I've said at all. We got power like that. Apparently, Bro's getting shouted out by the Democrats. He's like, black people haven't chatted since May. Oh, that's interesting. We can seek his campaign nationally. I do not care about Graham Platner's campaign. I care about the harm that Graham Platner has caused the people by joining the Nazi killing brigade. Would you accept that for an IDF soldier? And I don't think you would. Genuinely. Genuinely. Somebody had, not even, he's even this, honestly, you could argue with that. I see October 7th leavers for Sean Street. Actually, it is. It is. The Graham Platner leavers are going to start coming back in and being like, you know what, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I didn't see it from your perspective. That's so funny. You know, before I make requests about the pop off next week. Even worse to an extent, right? Like, it's like being a part of the IDF and then going back again.
because you were bored and tired. You're like, I don't really have anything else to do, so I'm going to go back to join the IDF anyway. I would think you would want a response or some explanation to be like, hey, why did you forget? I was like, I just want to see what the chatters were saying to change. But they black white first. He was so party position of you would rather be president before Grant Platner gets elected. I'm Mamdani to win an election is president of the United States. Dog, I would rather rig the election for Zohar Mamdani to win an election, even though he can't run for president, to make him president before Grant Platner gets elected. Yeah. I would rather us radically change the Constitution so that Zohar Mamdani can win, and then he's president before Grant Platner. Has he ever proclaimed to be an anti-fascist? I mean, that's how he's been kind of positioned, no? Anyone at HBCU can get you to speak. What if initiating the socialist vanguard and mandates how he atones for his crimes against humanity? Honestly, it would be a good second step. First step is an apology. Then I'd think about it. He still has to apologize for it, though. Like, I'm asking him to, like, freaking, it goes on for a little while. I want to see other stuff that has happened. So about Tulsi Gabbard.
Specific requirements about. I forget. I got to.
And touched on into this.
Like, project growth on somebody, right? Acknowledge the harm when you have this, right?
And caving.
I showed this already.
I think it's lost in all.
And for those of you who didn't hear me talk about this already, he's wrong about all of it. Covered this. Dissolve in like 20 these contracts so that they can continue to get contracts with the name changed. It's the same exact website. It's entirely the same. They only change their name and they play this show game to be able to get more money from the government and to avoid congressional accountability once, you know, they are sued and are held accountable in, like, you know, and called in front of Congress to answer for their war crimes. So when he said, yeah, and this goes on for a while, and I think it's the end of this stream. I think it's the end of this stream. Fusion is coming from? You would think the person who actually did it, yes. I think the chatter was actually in here today, funnily enough. This is the chatter that did it. This is the chatter that killed me. He liked being in the military. That's what no one wants to accept. Yeah. They're secretly like, well, he's secretly like, I regret it. But he can't say it secretly. They're supporting there's sweeping under the rug valid concerns. Exactly. There's like a time in the military in Blackwater. Now what? Okay, so you understand why people are upset about it. I don't understand what your point is. That's what we're criticizing. He has. All right, this is in the beginning of it. Hold on. According to me. I did those things. So done. These are genuine. Period. If his bio is correct, he signed up for the Marines during the honeymoon period of Iraq. Basically, right after the shock and awe, toppling of Saddam, and the de-Baathification and the military disbandment. You would think the person who actually did it, they're secretly like, well, he's sweeping the military in Blackwater. Now what? Okay, so you understand why people are upset about it. I don't understand what your point is. That's what we're criticizing. He hasn't condemned it as the politician. So if you condemn it and you realize that it's bad, you would think the person who actually did it, the harmfulness, would also condemn it, but he has not. And so we agree, and I am trying to get him to understand that it should be condemned. I don't understand what the problem is. He has not done the accountability and apology part. I don't understand. Sounds like the last thing Graham should do at this point. I think Hassan is wrong and incorrect. I think that is the first thing Graham should do. I think of it like reparations, right? I don't care how it affects his campaign. I don't get two flying flips how it affects his campaign. An apology is required when you commit harm. I don't care how disadvantageous it is to his polling. I don't think it will hurt his polling. I don't even care if it does. When you commit harm, you do your apology. He should have done his apology when he first left in the first place. I'm saying the Chris Rapp breaking points vid needs to be saved as time counts ASAP. Yeah.
I wanted to get you to wait.
I don't even want to read it, bro. I don't even want to read it. Well, we can see what Phil Franco has to say about it. I'm just curious about how everybody covered Graham Platner. It is curious to me. I'm curious. This future congressman said literally nothing. The Dem establishment is throwing fits over Janet Mills not getting nomination in Maine. Whenever guys tell me to have more conversations, you should always stop believing what they're saying going forward. That person is fine with doing nothing. Speaking like a true corporate politician, what a betrayal. People don't choose. Dude is more than suspicious. The Democrats' biggest problem is that they're ignoring what the people want. He thinks he's going to move his ideological opponents left while simultaneously dismissing his ideological allies. Incredibly disappointed with Chris in this interview. If you're thinking about voting for Jeffries, get this guy out immediately. Platitude buzzword, platitude buzzword. This guy is going to portray everything that he's running on. Like, genuine question, why should black leftists ever engage with you? Ever, at all? Why? And this is how you treat them in defense of a rapist. Why? This is why I need an apology. This is why I need an apology. This is why, right? Because you can't do this, right? You can't, right, disrespect and disavow every single black leftist that is a part of this movement that doesn't 100% subscribe to defending the rapists that you love, right? And then expect to just stop doing that and think that that's going to be it, right? And honestly, a lot of white leftists just view this the same way they view their own racism, right? They think the fact that they just stopped being racist is enough. But it's not. The harm is there. That's why you need to apologize, right? You can't just like stop being racist and then no harm, no foul, right? You can't just stop supporting Graham Platner and then no harm, no foul, right? You have to acknowledge that you made a mistake because you did make a mistake. You are owed an apology 100%. The way these opinions are dismissed and ridiculed on this site is fucked. It's just frustrating. Did we stop being racist though? Not really. 3 pillars, good sir. Right? Like, I don't know what expectation you have. I don't. Right? I keep seeing tweets like this, by the way. So I can find it. Where is it? I keep seeing posts being like, this is too far. This is too far. Graham Platner needs to drop out because this is too far. I tried pointing out how you and FD and other black leftists had always been skeptical of Platner, and someone said that black people aren't predisposed to having stronger critiques of political figures. I just don't understand how we move past that sentiment. Fuck them. I have Shank's take open. I didn't look at Shank's sexual take. Right? I am curious. There was a Hassan stream that I did want to show because I showed it before. There was a Hassan stream where Hassan acknowledged that me and FD both have critiques of Graham Platner. You remember that, chat? Let's see if I can find it. Wait, no, it's gonna be Twitch. When was it? I think it was yesterday. Was it here? I don't remember when it was. I know I showed it on stream. I literally showed it on stream. Was it this?
I mean, like, I was walking.
Definitely not that. Was it this?
One of the biggest dick riders statement would agree with. Totally unjustifiable. There
it was this,
plenty of war crimes. As fucking while simultaneously but because of his background, because sincere. I think that
Yes. Here. This is it. This is it. I remember. I just want to peek at the chat just real quick. I just want to peek at the chat real quick. Just a little looksies of 9 days ago. How people were talking about Grand Planner. Just a little looksies. Just a tad looksies.
Is out of our hands regardless. And yes, I do think that he I think that he's sincere. I think that
hold up. Go back.
You know? Because Shannon Watts opposes every politician that I work with, every candidate that I work with. It's a shame that Connie Chan said that you were a racist because I think she would need a huge grassroots surge to beat Wiener. We could help with that. I feel the same way about Nithya being so tentative. She also always attacks every politician that supports the policies he's in favor of the most centrist. She's in favor of the most centrist them. She's lying. Yeah, I know. What about Platner and his tattoo? Can we trust them? But the alternative is bad. I mean, look, Platner is out of our hands regardless. And yes, I do think that he I think that he's sincere. I think that his criticism is
immediately Mills Mafia. Uncritical support for Platner. Tattoo's gone. And people are still asking about the tattoo still.
Israel are sincere. I think his criticism of American militarism is sincere.
If you listen to him, he's clear he's not a Nazi. Apparently, he's not clear he's not a rapist. Tattoo is the most nothing burger of his history. Okay, that's true. I do agree with that. It is the most nothing burger of his history. He has way worse. Way worse.
Sincere. I know people won't believe it because of his background, because of his track record, because of what he's done in the past. I've already told you what I think about this, right?
Platner's a Marine chud. He's legit. Comment for U.S. Marines to get those kind of tattoos. Platner is more radical than most of the chat. You should be embarrassed. I'm sorry. You should be fucking embarrassed. I'm gonna call it like it is. If you are in here saying you should be embarrassed, this is an embarrassment, right? And the problem is that nobody says this about you and you people with John Fetterman, right? Tattoo is severe, in my opinion. Yeah, but in the grand scheme of his entire background, it's severe, but followed after Abu Ghraib and then Blackwater, it's not the most severe. Right? Nobody said this when it came to people who defended John Fetterman. And we got Fetterman again. This is us getting Fetterman again. Well, sorry, this is y'all getting Fetterman again. And because nobody held your feet to the fire when it came to Fetterman, right? Nobody held y'all feet to the fire when it came to Fetterman. Y'all ended up getting Fetterman once again. You should be embarrassed. You should be embarrassed. It's an embarrassment. With the comment underneath, I already did. I already read this comment.
I'm actually kind of glad that we're not talking about Graham Platner as much because I feel like it makes people go crazy.
Platner goated. Platner would be one of the best senators, no doubt. He's got the best messaging, and everyone is so in denial about it being they don't want to be outflanked. You see in the chat today. Maybe I'll look at it. Maybe let's get a little peeksies. People can change. This is a important reason. There's a history of women protecting their abusers from the left for the betterment of the movement and political goals at the East for decades. Maybe look at it a little bit later.
For some reason.
It's not even about stunning. It's about holding their feet to the fire, right? It's about not letting them try to be like, oh no, I wasn't saying this. Because they say it now with John Fetterman, right? You see it. If you ask any of these people whether or not they support John Fetterman or they supported John Fetterman, I guarantee you they'll say no. Guarantee if you ask any of these people if they supported John Fetterman, they will say no. Don't get too cynical. This isn't cynical. This is reality. This is objective reality, right? When you, and I stand on this, when you don't actually interrogate your belief system, right? When you don't interrogate your belief system, when you don't interrogate what you actually believe or what you did believe, figure out how you change that, you are liable to make the same mistakes over and over and over and over again. You need to understand and realize, why did I think Graham Platner was different, right? If you understand now that Graham Platner is bad, you have to realize and think, why did I think Graham Platner was any different? You have to interrogate that part of your mind, right? Whatever part of your ideology that made you think that Graham Platner was different, you need to take that part and you need to kill it because it's wrong. Objectively wrong. Right? And people aren't going to do that. At the end of the day, they're going to ask if you prefer Collins, always down to the lesser evils of electoralism. But they're not doing that anymore, though. A lot of these people are abandoning Graham Platner. A lot of these people who defended Graham Platner are abandoning him now. And they need to ask themselves why that is. Right? I saw it on Twitter. People were like, this is too far. You know, this is the final straw. Right? And if this is your final straw, genuinely, you need to ask yourself why. Right here. Enough's enough. Sexual assault is a red line. We need to beat Susan Collins, but this guy is not the one to do it. This is enough's enough right now. This is enough's enough right now. This, not any of the other stuff. We should have held this standard months ago. And I've been saying that we should have held this standard months ago. Months ago. And months of me yelling, like being yelled at and being attacked and being accosted because I had the audacity, right, to stand against the common tide of people pushing for Graham Platner. You should have heard Blackwater and said no, right? Because if you would have heard IDF, you would have said no, right? You should have heard Blackwater, you should have said no immediately. Frame one. But we heard Blackwater, we were like, well, you know, how much Blackwater, right? When Blackwater? Why Blackwater? For how long Blackwater? It should have been non-negotiable. 100% they would have said yes to the idea. Are you too charitable? I don't think so. I mean, maybe I am being too charitable, right? But at least they would realize like what they're saying, right? They would realize to a certain extent. I think maybe I am coping, right? Maybe I am coping. I don't know. Maybe I'm coping. I don't understand why they forced this man upon us because he's white. Because he's white. That's why. Just today said if they're IDF, that he won't dismiss them the way that he won't dismiss members of the American military. I understand the nuance there, but still, there's a difference in like not dismissing them. And there's a difference in like going out of your way to support them when they show zero accountability at all ever, right? Like, could someone like who was in the IDF theoretically, eventually at some point, be held accountable and then be brought into the movement? Sure. Should they be politician? Probably not. I still think no, right? But could they change and grow their mind? Sure. Right? Did that happen with Graham Platner? Objectively, no. Graham Platner objectively did not do that. Objectively. At no point did Graham Platner ever in their entire life, in his entire life, try to hold himself accountable. He thought the tattoo was worse than Blackwater, both left at Twitch and liberal Twitter. Yeah, I don't agree. I think the Blackwater is worse. Tattoo's still bad. Right? And the tattoo is still bad. But I heard Blackwater, I was like, no. Killing people is worse than tattoos. Again, it's a Nazi tattoo, right? It's not just a tattoo. It is a Nazi tattoo, right? And that is completely unacceptable, right? I think both of them by themselves are disqualified. The fact that he got through both together is insane. Insane. As much work would be needed, as much work as you can do. Not even an apology from Platner for Blackwater. Tried to lie about it and get ridiculous. I did it because I was directionless in life. Excuse? Yes, and then leftists accepted it. Leftists accepted that excuse. Let's continue.
I would absolutely support Senator Sanders' bill to restrict military aid, but I'll be entirely honest, looking down the road, this is a nation that right now is exterminating people.
Like, I was thinking about this, like, with John.
Graham Platner is most ideologically consistent American. Insane. Insane. Craziness. As far as this 20 Platner again, I'm out. If Platner doesn't fit the bill of reform, I'm not sure what we're looking for. Because you're stupid. You're a moron. Idiot. People are stupid. You're stupid. You're all stupid. You're all dumb. I'm sorry. People have been too nice. People have been too nice. And this let us got Fetterman again. People have been too nice, and we've gotten Fetterman once again. Once again. You're stupid. And you need to think about why you're stupid. Please, take 10 seconds to think, why am I stupid? Why is there nothing going on up there? Why is my brain empty, please? Please, let me just think about that for 2 seconds. I'm begging you to think, why are you so dumb? I said it before and I'll say it again. You're a rube. You're a fool. You were fooled once again. Once again. Once again. Once again. How many times did this need to happen to you for you to think maybe I need to do something different? How many times? How many times? How many times? It doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. Platner is actually an ideologically consistent American for the median voter. He's not. That's not what ideological consistency means. Ideological consistency is when your ideology is something and then your actions follow that up. Right? He has the ideology of like Americans, as in that he's inconsistent, but he is in nowhere consistent. His ideology says one thing, and then he does the exact opposite of that. The opposite of ideological consistency. He's inconsistent. He is ideologically inconsistent. Objectively speaking. Right? He says one thing, he does another thing. He believes one thing, he does another thing. That is literally all that happens. Inconsistency. Right? The concerns and skepticism are reasonable, but if you believe that he's insincere, show your work, which I have done a multitude of times, right? But people like this turn their ears off. They close their eye when anybody has any real and meaningful critique. Every time Graham Platner has come up, it's always been, nope, not true. I don't want to see it. Not true at all. No. And now they're here looking stupid. Now they're looking stupid. They look dumb. They look dumb, right? You look dumb when you talk about how much Mainers don't care. Now you supported a rapist. Good for you. Right? And if Mainers don't care, you're going to keep supporting this rapist? How far are you going to take it? Where's your line at?
Jon Favreau shitting on Daria Lisa the other day, but also
this guy here could have predicted this. Who? Nobody. This came out of nowhere. Nobody could have had any idea. It really snuck up on us. And everyone who's supporting him will be like, "Congrats, everything sucks. I bet you're so happy." Yeah.
Also being a massive advocate for Graham Platner. And it's like, dude, how are you gonna hand wave away a fucking totem cough while simultaneously be like, Daria Lisa is an anti-Semite because she went to
like Platner's message is better than our boy Zoran. That's not true, objectively speaking. This is racism, by the way. I have to say that. That's racism. Graham Platner does not do anything meaningfully better than like the 7 different members of the DSA slate and the other people got elected or got one of their primaries last month. He's not particularly radical in what he advocates for, right? But they'll bring up, oh, but you don't understand. He posted about the Socialist Rifle Association, right? You don't understand. You don't understand. He posted about the SRA on Reddit. But don't look at his other Reddit post where he was being racist and misogynistic, right? Only talk about the one post that actually shows that I'm right. Don't look at any of the bad stuff that dictates how bad he actually is. I'm telling you, it doesn't make any sense. Jordan openly comments, I don't want to even admit that he's a socialist anymore. I don't think he ever was.
To a pro-Palestinian rally on October 8th. Like, that's crazy. I feel like I'm losing my mind a little bit, you know? Like, that genuinely doesn't make sense. Right? It's kind of crazy, right? Like, because
people brush aside all the comments that he made about slandering sexual assault victims under the rug months ago and called them silly and trivial, and now they pretend like they actually care about sexual assault.
The thing is, I mean, misogynoir is how you do that. Stop playing. I guess that's part of it for sure. Or maybe it's because Platner doesn't call himself a communist in public, but only in like anonymous private Reddit posts.
He also said black people don't tip as well, but you know, neither here nor there. The line is that he can't win. A lot of people only just dropping him because he can't win. That's at least 50% of people.
White man didn't say fuck Kamala Harris. Come on, man. But yeah, he cooks here, by the way. This is so good.
It is going to be very difficult for me to ever be able to look at.
I actually disagree with that. Just like on like, not on like presentation, but even on principle, right? Him being like, it'll be very difficult for me to ever get to a point where I can look at Israel another way. Is like not, in my personal opinion, cooking, right? And instead validates the state of Israel existence further.
Them again in
Listening to something about Platner for hours. I've never heard of a specific allegation. Chatter. He's a rapist. We talked about it like consistently. But the first like 3 hours of the stream, it is 3 hours in. Because the entire discussion was about Graham Platner being a rapist. I want to address FD's Why I Left the Left video, by the way. This is all we got from him in response to I leaving left 2 minutes total. He didn't even tell us it's the same day. Remember the first article coverage
that Graham Platner's sexting controversy won't
channel. Yeah, but I'm just saying like, I talked about it like specifically now. You know? Yeah, I'll get to this after I finish this.
See someone that we should be working with closely. An immense amount of work is going to have to be done, in my opinion, to fix that relationship because I
just don't think that that's a lot. I don't think that that's like good actually. He said he wants to rebuild a relationship with Israel. Basically, how is that a good response? I don't know. I don't know. I don't. Do you feel that's what it take to be a U.S. president? True. True.
What I am witnessing now is the height of horror. And the fact that it is being done by bombs that are built in this country and paid for with our tax dollars.
No, let me just, I'll save you all the trouble. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I got you. I'll save you the trouble.
Is utterly unconscionable, and it needs to end.
John is just racist and Platner is not a threat to the establishment at all. He's a cookie cutter progressive. Daria Lisa is way more radical than Platner. I mean, I don't think Graham Platner is as... No, I don't think Graham Platner is a cookie cutter progressive.
No, he objectively is. Objectively. Cookie cutter? Yes, he's cookie cutter, for sure. There's literally nothing that he gives that's not cookie cutter progressive. Objectively speaking. Nothing. I think people are coping when they say that like he's the most radical person that we've ever seen in our life. I think it's racism and coping. There's nothing special about him, objectively speaking, except maybe that he's a rapist. That's special in like a negative way. I don't think he's even progressive. I mean, you can call him progressive, right? Progressive is a very wide label. You could go to rapist, true. What do you think is that Alvaro Larkin said way more radical than the Indians he said? True. Also true and correct. I think people were into his Reddit comic persona. Yeah, but you can't both do that and then disavow his like misogyny and racism. Right? You can't do that. You can't take half of his Reddit comments and then disregard his other half of his Reddit comments when he's disavowed all of them. Right? If you're going to take him being a radical because of his Reddit comments, you also have to take his racism at face value. You also have to take his misogyny at face value. Right? And then look, oh, he's a rapist. So it's not like we didn't know that. He had Reddit comments saying that. I need you to understand, right? I need you to understand what happened with this. Platner is the candidate dark woke wanted and deserves. True.
Sorry. I don't look. I don't think Graham Platner is a cookie cutter progressive. I think you're wrong. I think Graham Platner, especially with his with the way that he talks about issues on the campaign trail, is not cookie cutter.
I think he's wrong. I think it's something correct on this. Fully cookie cutter.
Like Connie Chen is a cookie cutter.
We need strong men allies. What are we doing, bro? He's more left than 90% of people. That's meaningless. That's meaningless. That is meaningless. Half the country voted for Donald Trump. It's meaningless. You know who's also like more left than 90% of the people? Elizabeth Warren. Like Rahm Emanuel. You know what I mean? Like, what are we talking about? The bar is low. He's a progressive. I think people were lying about him. People were lying about what they saw in him. That's it. That's all. People were lying about what they saw in Graham Platner. And they projected onto Graham Platner what they wanted. And they ended up supporting a rapist. Right? There were signs that Graham Platner was a violent person. There were signs that Graham Platner was a misogynistic person. There were signs that Graham Platner was very cavalier as it pertained to consent. Right? These are signs. We knew that they were there. I talked about them consistently.
There are a bunch of super important.
Consistently, right? There's literal hours. There are literal hours of me covering Graham Platner, right? I talked about Graham Platner here. Talked about Graham Platner here. Yeah, so many tabs open. Right? AI music. We looked at the Tabernacle Noah Samson thing. Right? Talked about Graham Platner earlier on as well. Here and here and here, I'm pretty sure. Also, I think here. A little bit. It's all over. Oh, look at Nick's. Sorry.
What is up, chat? What is good in the hood?
Oh, where'd she go? I don't know where she went. I saw her on the thumbnail. The allegations made against Maine Senate candidate Graham Platner make it impossible for Check Back to continue our support. We are revoking our endorsement immediately and urging Platner to resign from the race. People make fun of American leftists for this exact reason. Honestly, as they should. We deserve it. We deserve it. We deserve it. It's fully deserved. Hold on, I was watching this.
Cutter progressive. Or Diana DeGette used to be considered a cookie cutter progressive. Graham Platner is on a way different frequency and probably a lot closer to Daria Liza on many issues than you give him credit for. Okay.
Your brain is perfectly smooth. You think Graham Platner is a stand-up progressive? Cookie cutter progressives are what the candidates losing to DSA candidates are. Graham Platner is also not a DSA candidate, though.
Okay. Graham Platner is
a Marine ex-PMC with a Nazi tattoo is not a cookie cutter progressive. Okay, that's fair. If you frame it like that, I believe that.
Background and personal experience that actually is the red flag here. Not what he's saying on the campaign trail. If what he's saying on the campaign trail is great.
I just don't necessarily agree. I think it's decent. It's like not particularly radical. Right?
Yeah, and also there's a lot of talk about like Daria Liza's take on Russia and Ukraine. The claim that Chevalier seemed to justify Russia's invasion of Ukraine seems to refer to
that's not what I'm looking for now.
And the aggressive victory, like randomly being like Daria Liza and Claire Valdez are ambiguous about their position on track actions are plenty of war crimes. Point is to try to, I guess demand more support. Doing
cover this.
You should add a true wild card like Hassan Piker. I still think it's ridiculous because even without the American support. Yeah, I saw this. Become the commie president? What do you mean? And more so the failure of Biden. America taking in. America has real limits that it's part of this role.
I was looking for something specifically. I think
Putin knows that. Like issue one that people are pushing for. Your choice law, their hand is stronger than it's yes. State of emergency amid this is like real are that things of that training. That all distinguishable lovely. So let's take the example.
210. Oh, I was almost there too. Gosh darn it, that was close.
Keeps being the manufacturing base of the world. China's manufacturing everything, every component internally. They make one car every 58 seconds in one of their fucking factories. There's no
is it a different timestamp? Is it here? It's a different video. They do look the same, to be fair. Okay.
Maine voters tell ZBS News that Graham Platner's sexting controversy won't change their votes. The sexting controversy is such an interesting one because we don't even know when. FD Unkifier just declared it's racist to vote for Platner. That is crazy to me.
I don't think that's what he said, personally.
That is actually crazy to me. I'm sorry. That's wild. What the fuck? I doubt that he said it like that. Why I left the white left address the elephant? Wait, what? I doubt he said that. That's got to be bait,
He
dude.
did?
I don't trust that at all. I'm sure he has understandable. I'm sure.
No, he did. Okay, also we're not gonna mince words here. This is Mike shit. Like this is like I know Mike reacted to the video and these are Mike chatters saying that. Like it just is. Like that's where it's coming from. Just objectively speaking. Right? Because like, when y'all send me stuff, I don't watch it on stream for a reason, right? I don't watch it on stream. I don't engage with it on stream, right? But I do see it, right? And that is what happened when Mike watched the video, and that's what the chatters came away with, right? So I don't know. I don't think Mike himself said that FD Sigver said it was racist to vote for Graham Platner, but that is the response that the chatters did come for. All right, chatter. I get it. I understand. We'll get to your thing in a second.
FD Unkifier has understandable skepticisms about Graham Platner, a guy who was not only a machine gunner.
What day is this? This is June 2nd. I want to see the actual chat. What is this? This is like a month ago? I didn't know it was actually that long ago. I want to see the chatters.
The rally that I did with Abdul, where you were surprised that there were people that were, you know.
Yeah. Where's it at? Where's it at? Oh, thank you.
Button. Okay. You can rewind. Fucking annoying centrist, but oh, when? That is actually crazy to me. I'm sorry. That's wild. What the fuck? I doubt that he said it like that. Why?
Go for Collins. Yes, he did. FD is getting paid by Israel. Do you not see how insane this is? Right? This is what I mean when I say that Black leftists need an apology. Right? Because this is the stuff y'all were doing. Right? I think about politicians' sex lives. FD is so off with this mark with this take. FD's been unsupposed for the past week, not gonna lie, but Platner would not get my vote. Like, that's craziness. And he's been having wild takes lately.
I left the white left address the elephant. Wait, what? I doubt he said that.
Let me see. Yeah, FD's take was super bad, but on this, but he did not say it like that. I want these people to explain themselves. Genuinely speaking. Right? I want these people to explain themselves. I do. I do. I did be pushed by that about to say stuff about Platner. That's not true. I think you're silly if you think that's the case. Like, actually. So I will now vote for Susan Collins.
That's gotta be bait, dude.
Your last chat. Mike called me a Lebanese man from South Lebanon and Zionist because I criticized Platner, then implied I was pro-Israel plan. Yeah, I think you told me that before, which is crazy because I think like you were like originally like a Mike chatter before you're my chatter. I do remember you saying that as well earlier. Apparently, me, but I was defending FD. I mean, I don't think I read your message. I would have recognized your name. He kind of did. He actually said vote for him, but also trashed him all the way. Comments on the left are literally hurting single white women is instantly that are literally hurting a single white woman is instantly disqualifying, but killing Iraqis are not. I don't see white women of color being raped. Yes, less important than any other dehumanized acts. British breaking with this discourse.
I don't trust that at all. I'm sure he has understand.
I don't give anything to Bad Abnada, just saying that he was the very first few to call Platner. I'm not saying that that's not the case, but I don't like Bad Abnada did not force FD Signifier to call out Graham Platner. I think that's silly.
Understandable. I'm sure FD Unkifier
is a fair criticism. If it's about both sides, Tyler, then I implicitly agree with it. The issue with FD is saying he would defer West Side Tyler, a proud murderer and a veteran as well. He never addressed that part, and it was set on the street. No, I agree with you. Listen, I was one of the first people to call out both sides Tyler. Trust and believe. Trust and believe. I was one of the first people to call out both sides Tyler 2 years ago. All right, you're not wrong on this. I don't think anybody is like above critique, right? I think that was bad for FD Signifier, right? I think him like reaching out to both sides Tyler is bad because both sides Tyler is bad. Both sides Tyler sucks. It sucks. Genuinely, he sucks. He's also shifted on both sides Tyler. I haven't seen his shift on both sides Tyler. I just hate both sides Tyler. Bro was like laughing gleefully about brown people being murdered. But him murdering brown people, terrible. Objectively terrible. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and like try to defend that in any regard or anything like that. You know my stand. He sucks. Is it Ozzy? Yeah, I'm gonna be real. Like, both sides Tyler is worse than Graham Platner. Like, bar none. Like, that's it, bar none. I think SCTV was bad, but not for the same reason. These people were incapable of critiquing Platner for the simplest critiques. I don't know who that is, then don't worry about it. No, he is. He's not worse. No, he is. Okay, wait. Okay, to be fair, before the rape stuff came out, I don't know if both sides Tyler has raped anybody. To be fair, but yeah, I was working on dated information, right? So we gotta turn tables. You're right. You're right. No, you're right. You're right. Who's a Tyler person? Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it.
Fire has understandable skepticisms about Graham.
Where does it say? He said someone said FD is a Fed. Like, I'm sorry, these people should be purged from the community. I do stand on that.
Platner, a guy who was not only a machine gunner and all this stuff, but also had a fucking Totenkopf tattoo, man. Like, what are we talking about? It's kind of a deal, you know? It's not insignificant, you know?
Crazy 60% of people shouldn't bad about FD are bad about fans. A lot of us were bad.
Anyway, what is
grit my teeth and vote for him?
I mean, maybe they should still be burned. The FD has blind spots too, is all. Sure. As they've been believing in supporting the victim. That's good. Jacketing is serious too. We're talking about the safety of our spaces. People are so serious with that shit. Yeah.
him because, I'm a Democrat.
Many voters in Maine tell us Democratic Senate candidate Graham Platner's latest controversy will not change their vote.
I probably wasn't going to vote for him anyway.
I can separate what somebody's doing in their personal life and the mistakes or whatever that they've done from how they run politically.
I don't think any differently about him since that story came out.
I'll probably, grit my teeth.
And that's not too much, but kind of feels like
I lost it. FD called Platner a seasonal villain you see in a House of Cards, and that he hates the dude. Well, true.
kind of feels like it's not that bad, right? He has an issue with the fans of Platner who look past the tattoo and act like white saviors. FD called Platner a seasonal villain you'd see in a House of Cards, and that he hates the dude.
I hate the dude. Gets a
No,
Platner
more
warrior?
than
Yes.
dozen Maine voters told me that their support for Graham Platner isn't wavering after his latest scandal. I want a senator.
Like, I'm sorry. As leftists, you should not be aligned with Maine voters. If you're moving on a candidate when Maine voters are moving on a candidate, that is an L. You've taken an L. You should be ahead of the curve on this. I expect that from leftists. I expect you, that's Taylorism, it is Taylorism. I expect you to be better on this. Right? I don't expect you to sway with what the current government is at, you know? What's the issue with Kamala? Exactly. Like, if you were doing that, you would have supported Kamala. I expect you to read the room, right? Email, thank you for the raid. Welcome in. Right? I expect you to read the room. I expect you to see all of this stuff about a candidate and make a decision more informed than the average Maine voter. Right? If you're moving when Maine voters are moving, you've already taken the L. You've taken an L. That's bad. You've already messed up. You messed up. Chatter, I don't care. Okay, Banana Banana, freaking moratorium. I don't give two flying flips about Banana Banana. Please, I swear. Stop talking about it or I will ban you. I do not care. Literally don't care. Stop talking about this man. Jeez Louise, this is not the time to be like, I need to be on the Banana Banana defense brigade or whatever. Jeez Louise, maybe if murdering brown people had been a disqualifier, we wouldn't be here to begin with. True. Another day, another reminder that much of the American left seem to only treat rape and murder as disqualifying when the victims are American and not overseas. Yeah. Yeah. You ready at that time? Well, we're talking about Graham Platner. We're saying to another chatter. I don't care. Doesn't matter. Moratorium is in place. Please move on. Don't reply to them either. Stop. All right, I clap both of you. I'll give you both an hour. Don't reply to them. Stop it. You're engaging with it. Saving protocol activated. Yes. Saving protocol is activated. Enough. Already doing a Trump comparison? I mean, of course, that's not surprising. Sorry, I missed something in the chat I wanted to send me. I don't know where it is, actually. I lost it. I have too many tabs open, bro. Excuse me. Voice pattern with IDO Soldier. Now, so not so funny now, is it? You return the tweet? Yeah, no, the tweet's correct. I agree with it. Right? And I would go as far as to say that it's even further about this because he had this allegation a month ago, right? It's not even just that it's disqualifying when it happens to an American. It's disqualifying when it's so overtly in your face, right? Not even because, like, again, Graham Platner was hit with this accusation last month. Oh wait, hold on. what? Hello? Wait, hold on. Stop. Shut your freaking mouse. Shut your freaking mouse. Give me 1 second. Hold on. Hold on. There's so many links. Um, where's it at? I forgot his name. Give me 1 second. Okay, no, I thought I missed something. The alien doesn't work, chatter. We seen an article where accusations apparently. I have so many different like people being dropped. You're gonna see this guy seeing somebody certain community deny the issues of sexual assault on the left. There's decades of history and of leaders of political movements on the left for having their actions against women in the movement be overlooked for the betterment of political goals. But always been collateral is not a partisan issue. Yeah. And it's frustrating. Platter Power Hour comment screen grabs from that about a rap interview. What do you mean? We already looked at that. Y'all are coming in here at different times and you're messing me. I have too many tabs open. I'm getting overwhelmed. I'm getting overstimulated. I have overstimulated. The Google Drive link? What's the Google Drive link? Sign in? Okay. Hey, can you put it in an Imgur like normal? Okay, anyway, let's just give me 1 second, please. Give me 1 second. Give me a second. I have too many tabs open. Close. Close. I'll keep this one open. I haven't covered this one yet. Close. Close. We finished this one off. Close. Keep this one open. Close. With Chrome log grouping tabs. Yeah, but it's so much work. Here's how Platner could still win. Horrible Republican women outside the ability to be violated and abused by their partners. So you're gonna break leftists' brains. You're gonna break their brains here. Watch this.
Epstein, a lot of Epstein stuff going on in the news behind the radar. One of them, though, actually links to the Democratic race or the Democratic nominee in Maine, Graham Platner, who was asked because he's been talking quite a bit about the Epstein files. He's also had his recent sexting scandal. And so Morning Joe's Mika Brzezinski tried to link the two in a recent interview. Let's take a listen.
Let me ask you this way. Can you just talk about the nature of the sexting in terms of, can you call for the release of the Epstein files? And can you call out those who have abused women and not be conflicted in any way?
Yes, of course.
Sorry, I saw the funniest post. And it was hilarious. But I won't share it, but it was hilarious. Going through all Marsupial's chats. I understood it. Faces Firefox and Chrome, Firefox off stream, Chrome for on stream. True. The Katie. I was willing to hope that Platner changed for a decent amount of time because I thought I had met too many dudes like him in my time and viewed a lot of them in him. I will say your coverage, FD's did a lot to dissuade me. Just dissuade a lot of that, especially when I realized actually he's done. So thanks for that. I tried. I just started playing about this assume that all soldiers are rapists. I mean, he was part of the infantry, so. We all just take 1 minute to like mourn the Platner presidency. A moment of silence. There's literally like this should not have been a problem. In case you're wondering, I am tired, and this is the end of the stream. That's going to be playing me out. We literally shouldn't have even been here in the first place. We objectively should not have been here in the first place. Check your local white male leftist and every online community. We should not have been here in the first place. Should not have been here in the first place. We shouldn't have. I have no words. I have no words. You tried to tell him. I tried so hard. I tried so hard. I got time set out, like a song complaint. Is that like oh, it's 9 minutes. I thought it was 9 hours for a second. I was about to be like, oh my goodness. No, there's actually the Kyle Quincy posting here too. We'll say little pixies. Little pixies.
It's been a really bad week for the Platner cult. There have been a number of attacks dropped on him in the mainstream media, first by the Wall Street Journal and then by the New York
Times. I made 7 videos from his car in the last 3 hours. Wait, about Graham Platner? Did I miss it? Oh no. Really, Kyle? Is there something you're missing to talk about? 7 videos and not a single one is like, hey, the candidate that I was supporting is like, not a single one? Really? Really? Like he can make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. I'll say 24. Very overt Graham Platner videos. I'm gonna put a video out about it. You see, look at it, see it. 24 overt Graham Platner videos. You can't even spare a second to be like, hey, maybe don't support this guy actually, because he's a rapist. You think his comments are filled with inquiries about Platner? Definitely not.
So as
oh, look at this one. How refusing to address the Platner problem.
All right, y'all. So some good news here. Mallory McMorrow dropped.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Okay, that was on the last few months. There's so much stuff. Oh my goodness. Okay. I have to in-stream at some point. Excuse me.
Hey, you know they got your mans. They got your mans on sex assault charges. Yeah, the nigga you be hanging with. The nigga you be hanging with. Yeah.
You back? Okay. I'm back.
Hey, you know they got your mans. They got your mans on sex assault charges. Yeah, the nigga you be hanging with. The nigga you be hanging with. Yeah.
What's under his tweet?
Oh, yeah, sex offender. And he was your mans. He was your boy. I heard you grew up with him. That's crazy, man.
You ain't know what he was doing? You ain't feel bad at all? Like no guilt, none of that shit?
Hey, you know they got your man.
The video's funny. I like this video. Hold on. I didn't promise Chatter I'd watch their video. Where's it at? I wanna watch all. Yeah, we'll watch the Kyle part, then we'll watch the Hassan part.
Latest attacks on Graham Platner.
Graham Platner can fuck a toaster. Graham Platner can shove a pineapple up his ass. Graham Platner can shove a pineapple up his hole for all I care. Graham Platner can jack off to a cartoon of Scooby-Doo wearing Brian Noam's big ass titties. And I will crawl over fucking broken glass to support that man.
First of all, did he just mention Brian Noam? Let me pull these out real quick. Maybe he'll turn anti-Platner if I put these on. But second of all, I will crawl over broken glass to vote for Graham Platner.
Why? Because he actually wants to end the wars. Because he actually wants to stand up to the Israeli genocidal terror state currently doing multiple genocides. Because he actually wants to crack down on the Epstein class and arrest the criminals and raise taxes on the billionaires and take that money and redistribute it and give people health care, give people education, give people higher wages.
None of that technically changed. If Kyle believed it beforehand, after now. So there's actually should be no reason why Kyle wouldn't support him. I think Kyle is kind of waiting. I think Kyle is waiting to see how bad the reaction actually is before he says anything. Keep in mind, Kyle was one of the first people to start discrediting the last victim, by the way. Keep that in mind. Kyle was one of the first people off rip before the allegations even dropped, making 3, 4, 5 tweets about how it's a nothing burger. But now he's taking a step back, not saying anything, right? Because I think he's like testing the water, seeing what's people are saying. Ice Taker is advocating for people to join Ice Take. Advocating for people to join Ice Take was like insane, but this is like more pathetic. Objectively, it's more pathetic. You know.
Give people unions.
My thing, Kyle, yes, that's what he says he wants to do on paper. And first of all, I don't think he actually wants to end wars. He wants to end quote-unquote pointless wars. My conspiracy theory is like the only reason Graham Platner wants to end wars is because he can't fight in them. Once again, Graham Platner literally has no record. Where are social democrats getting this unearned confidence that Graham Platner would actually do all these things? He has no track record, no political record at all. Why are we acting like he's actually going to do all these things? This goes so...
Yeah, I guess... I guess a positive for these guys, they never have to be proven wrong. They never have to be proven incorrect. The first one I got, look at Kyle's Ice Take 6 months ago. I was trying to get us to watch that clip. It was this channel. Somebody called Spooky Streaming Socialist. I've never heard of them before. So I cannot endorse everything that they said. They're right about Kyle Blinsky, though. What I can say.
far beyond what people usually say, right? Like, there's maybe one half decent argument is that he's better than a generic Republican. Okay, fine. If you want me to compare him straight up to a generic Republican, yes, he's better than a Republican. But these guys are going so far beyond that. They're saying I would crawl over broken glass to vote for Platner, even if he shoved a pineapple up his cock. What the fuck is this? This is a cult. And what I will say about Kyle too is, like, it doesn't surprise me that bro has gone off the deep end with this Platner cult shit. Earlier this year. He did a little bit of a anti-Indian racism. What a surprise. You know, the guy doing anti-Indian racism doesn't actually care about war criminals. This is a clip from Hassan Piker where he says he degaff.
I don't care about the personal character of Graham Platner. I don't care about the things that he's done unless it's like literally irredeemable. I think
unless it's like literally irredeemable. I don't know, dude. Maybe like 4 tours in the Middle East, 3 tours in Iraq, 1 tour in Afghanistan, and then joining Blackwater. I think that's pretty irredeemable, dude. They're acting like these are just like little personal flaws. He's imperfect. So much for transformative.
I don't even say. I don't even necessarily inherently think that that's irredeemable. It's irredeemable because he knew it was bad, and he went back so many times. And then he went back again after all those tours. That's what, in my opinion, makes it irredeemable. Right? It was doing it with full knowledge that it was bad, and then going back 6 years later after even further knowing that it was bad, and then not apologizing. Right? It's like for him to be redeemed, he has to actually provide some evidence that he's redeemed. You know what I mean? Like there's some like showing that he's redeemed. And he, again, as I've always said, has given us literally nothing. He's given us nothing. Guys, right? Why didn't they just say his votes would be better than Collins, leave it as that? I don't know. Guys, we're gonna keep going. Okay. The Shatter is like so ready for me to keep going.
Justice. He can't even do transformative justice.
I can't even do like my commentary. Shatter's like, nah, F your commentary, bro. Keep going.
Repentant war criminal. He's just a small bean. Killing brown people in the Middle East is not just a small character flaw, it's literally what his life revolved around. For decades. He did 4 tours and then joined Blackwater. Genuine cult behavior.
Unless it's like literally irredeemable. I think he's done irredeemable shit in service. And even then, I'm willing to overlook the irredeemable, possibly irredeemable things he's done in.
As an American, I'm willing to overlook the war crimes he did in my name. If he gets me treats.
The irredeemable, possibly irredeemable.
Possibly irredeemable. He catches himself. Possibly irredeemable, guys. You know, he's looking into it. Hassan will be investigating whether working for Blackwater is possibly irredeemable. You know, but for now, he's willing to overlook it. This is so bizarre.
I wanted to see the rest of the clip. But yeah, I don't agree. Right? And just that, like, again, I think overlook is just just a bad word to use. You know what I mean? Like, he can still like be redeemed theoretically, right? He could be redeemed, like, after everything that he's done, right? But that requires work. We should not, as the left, be overlooking, right, his irredeeming like qualities. We should be pushing for him to take accountability for those, right? Take accountability for his irredeeming qualities, right? Take accountability for the heinous acts that he has committed, right? To actually change, to actually reform, right? So that he can earn our like support, right? I personally am not going to overlook anything that he's done. He has to prove to me that he's different, right? I think that's the difference, right? Overlook is just like not the word that I would use. You know? Yes, the Emma video is next. Please, everybody wants me to watch the video. I'm trying. I'm trying. This is like hour 9, bro. I'm at 9 hours. Please, I'm doing my best. I haven't got to the Jake tweet either. I'm doing my best. Where is it at? Did I close it? I might have closed it. Actually, I don't have it open. Never mind. I'm a liar. Like, also, I did see this, right? Which is like, it's crazy to crop this out there when he essentially, when essentially she was asked by a friend in general terms to corroborate her allegation, answered judged by the bubble text bubble, and then her actual answer is not included. This person is stupid because the answer is included. It's right there in the article. It's literally in the article. Like it's in the article. It's provided in the political article. This is the meme that was but like, oh wait, sorry, somebody else posted it actually. I want to see what his response is. I mean, we dropped out, but you're right. I don't know what to make of this. There's a missing chunk of conversation. It's right there. She said forces himself on people, and then she put this out, and then she said doesn't listen to you when drunk. There's no middle ground here. There's no ambiguity. There is zero ambiguity to this. Like, what are we talking about? I'm trying to think of a reason to not include the answer from either her making the point of making the allegation or Politico in reporting the allegation. If the answer in the claim text chain is yes, if it wasn't yes, I'd be curious to know what it was and what it says. It's in the article. Thank you. Did he respond to this? No. Oh my goodness. It's literally in the article. This is rape apologia, chat. This is rape apologia. Like, he's going out of his way to discredit the allegation by not even doing any of his work to actually read what is in the article. This is what we call rape culture. Yes. Right? And then you'll show him this, right? Where she then answers, right? Doesn't listen to you when drunk, which the down emoji is like, okay, that is sure. And people think like, well, she didn't say yes technically. So I can't. Okay, we'll watch. Where's it at? I didn't. Okay. Last thing. Okay, never mind. I lost the Emma tweet. I lost the Emma tweet. Okay, I can't find it. It's gone. Oh, thank you.
Hey everybody, I just wanted to jump on here to address the serious, credible allegations against Graham Platner. This story is devastating. I believe the victim...
Listen, Cenk will endorse like a Nazi if it means that, like, they bring him on his show, okay? Like, Jake and Anna are just like, yo, how could I give myself more attention, please? He really has. I know. Yeah.
Here, I think that Graham should drop out of the race. He has betrayed many, many supporters by not being forthright about this. I would include myself in that.
I can't in good conscience say that it is a betrayal. This is just kind of who he is. You know what I mean? I guess it's technically a betrayal because he's a liar, right? He's lied. You know what I mean? Like he lied about literally everything. And so he lied about this as well. Because he lied about this on Chris Hayes. Chris Hayes literally asked him about this. And he was like, nope, nothing else coming. Oh, that's just it, actually. What? I guess that's it.
I believed his campaign when they said that there was nothing new coming out. And it looks like an awful, awful accusation, and a credible one has come out. Now, this movement has never been about one individual. Any candidate that takes up the mantle here should share Graham's beliefs.
I've been saying this. It's so hard. It's so hard. Right? Because she's not wrong, but I've literally been saying. I've been trying to get people to believe this for months. Months. I've tried so hard. So hard to get people to believe this. Move to Maine? I don't know. I don't know what else I could have done, bro. I literally don't know what else I could have done to try to get people like to wake people up to like Graham Platner just not being the guy. I have no idea. Be white? I don't even think that would have helped, bro. Genuinely. Like people getting mad at Curious and others for being right too early. Yeah. Debate them in their mentions.
Belief, or the campaign's belief, in ending complicity in the genocide in Gaza, Medicare for all, taxing billionaires, and more. But obviously, this is a devastating development, and we'll be talking about it more on the Majority Report tomorrow. Hey, everybody,
honestly, that's more than I could say with breaking points. Or Kyle Klinsky. So, because Kyle's still dropping videos. Was even that good on Gaza? I mean, depends what you mean by good. You know what I mean? He is, as I would describe, a cookie cutter progressive. Right? He's like, we need to stop giving them weapons. We need to end the genocide. So like, that's good. But he's also like, we need to work to rebuild the relationship with Israel, basically. So like, that's not good. He goes in an anti-Zionist, yeah. So I don't know. I was like, who is this? It's Kyle Klinsky. And this is okay. We'll end off with Jenks, whatever Jenks' take is. This is what I know for sure about Platner. Every legacy media outlet is trying their hardest to make sure he loses. They're investigating every minute in every facet or every minute in every facet of his life. They never do this for insiders. Wait, how do you explain Eric Swalwell? Eric Swalwell was like a aligned with the establishment. Like he was the front runner for the governor of California race after Gavin Newsom. He was literally the front runner. How do you explain that? Was that also done because he was super based and stuff? They despise outsiders who challenge power. The minute a candidate says that he's not going to listen to donors, especially AIPAC, he's set upon 24/7 by people posing as reporters. They will attack. They are the attack dogs of the wealthy and powerful who run this country. Okay. And they hate it when their orders are not followed. So no, I don't believe any mainstream media story. I don't believe any mainstream media story, bro. Like it could come out with a video of Graham Plattner shooting a dog. He'd be like, nope, don't believe it. Like this is MAGA, bro. You're just MAGA. You are MAGA. We've arrived at left MAGA. I don't believe any mainstream media story. I think that they are agents of propaganda and not real news. And to my knowledge, they haven't investigated a single component of Susan Collins in a very long and corrupt life, because that is precisely the type of corruption the national media loves and what you think is normal. Think goes so hard for the wrong positions. Yeah. Anyway, I think I made my point. I don't know if there's much else for me to say. Is there anything else that I can say? I don't think so. Here, stuff like this, right? Several women who dated Graham Platter were caught unsettling behavior. Several women, and it was really mainly one woman, and this is her. By the way, they'll switch up now, but go back and go and look at the defenses of clear red flags. Only thing we knew about this guy was that he was a guy who drunk and still jumped out the window for him. True. Well, I'm gonna leave you off on that note. That there's nothing else that I need to say about it. It's one of the most preventable L's of all time. I feel sorry for the victim. I hope she finds peace. Yeah. Because Twitter tried to pay for 3 months sub and got an email saying I canceled. Don't click any links because it might be a scam. I don't know what else to say. And apparently there's another thing coming, by the way. Everybody except for Americans should be able to vote in American elections. So I'm trying to the majority of Americans will hopefully stepping on rakes, taking out on other people. I'm interested in how that would work. Jason said it was worse, right? Yes. You get 7 p.m. later when it drops. Technically, it's 7 for me right now. And we'll see. It's gonna release right when stream ends. Oh my goodness. Got you moved? Yeah, I'm on the East Coast now. You said it was worse? Yes. Maybe it's different. If it drops, I'm not going live. It's not happening, chat. I'm sorry. You have to get it from somebody else. If you think Jake would defend pedal allegations? Yes. He'll just say it's not true. In stream before it drops. I'm not going live. Listen, if I had a nickel for every time that's happened, I would have 2 nickels, which is not a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. Hint? No, I'm not. No hint. I'm not going live. There's a hint. No. No hint. No hint. This is the opposite. Kendrick drops. True. Yeah. 15 minutes? Stop. Whatever, chat. I'll see you later. Okay. Gosh darn it. Gosh darn it. I'll see you later. I have nothing to add. Think about how much more. Think about how much bigger of a stream it will be tomorrow if I just wait until tomorrow when something drops. You know, I could hit like 3,000 viewers just because of all these people being like, you know what? I loved Graham Platner, but this is my red line, and I will be laughing at every single one of you viewers who do that. Every single one who is like, I was for Graham Platner through all of that, but this is my red line to get an interview with the victim is out. I don't think that that's the CNN thing. Capper interview tonight with Graham Platner. I don't think that's the case. Right? We'll look at the CNN interview later. Before I understand it just kind of reiterates what this is. It is? I don't know if that's the case. Let me check. Let's check what Mason sent me. No, that's not it. All right. Adios, chat. Adios. I'll see y'all later. My mouth hurts because I've been talking a lot, and my ear hurts because I'm tired. In 20 minutes. Stop saying that. Stop saying that, please. I beg of you. In 20 minutes. Stop. Okay, whatever. Goodbye. All right, end this. Oh, bye.